Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto can transform into a dragon. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Fresh Prince of Konoha and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Anyway, onto the story. Flashback April 6 years before Valley of the End, a 6-year-old Naruto was training. He was going over the clone jutsu that was taught to him by his academy sensei Iruka. Try as hard as he could, Naruto couldn't get the damn jutsu down. He tried and tried, but it didn't work. You'd think he could do this by his record. Ever since he could remember, Naruto was always a strong little boy. One time a man was trapped under a merchant cart. No one around could get it off. The people around were about to ask a ninja for help before Naruto just came over and threw the cart. With one hand. There were 5 men trying together to get the cart off the man, yet Naruto did it easily with one hand. He was also very energetic. He did pranks to improve his energy and stealth. But when he gets caught, he leads Chunin and some Jounin on chases all around the city to where the ninja call it quits. Where most of the other kids in his class could only take 2 laps 1/2 mile, non-stop around the school field before taking a break, Naruto could take it to lengths that no one ever expected him to and go up to 6 laps, 1/2 miles, before taking a break. They also tested him to see how much chakra he had. They had him flare out all of his chakra at once in a continuous aura. When Naruto tried it, his aura reached levels that some Jounin couldn't match. He could soak up knowledge like a sponge does to water. He read his ninja academy. Year 1 book 3 times in 3 months, and he could answer questions that some kids in their second year couldn't answer. Of course, the teachers gave him questions on things that they hadn't studied yet, but Naruto still answered them correctly, frequently leaving the teachers speechless. He also learned that ninjutsu were dispelled when he flared out his chakra. After a few days of trying, he mastered that move. He flared chakra out of a small part of his body frequently to dispel any genjutsu. He used it as a chakra exercise. He even found out that some of his tests had genjutsu on them, but didn't pay any mind to it. Naruto also had tough skin. He had skin that could easily take a stabbing from a kunai, yet he didn't feel anything from it but a small twinge of pain. A guy in the village once threw a kunai at Naruto's arm. Naruto didn't sense it or anything and it hit him. The kunai fell with the top part of it bent. All Naruto did was feel a small pain, but it went away a few minutes later. He also found out a new way to use chakra. Well, it wasn't chakra, but it was something else entirely. Ever since he started using chakra, Naruto felt that there was something different about it than his body expected. He never found out what that was until he was attacked. Some people got together and tried to kill him. Naruto tried to run, but took a dead end and was beaten up. The attacks didn't hurt as much as they usually did, but Naruto was still scared. He looked around, but only saw the hateful glares of the people. Naruto panicked, and his instincts took over. He let out some sort of attack that hit everyone and had them running away. After trying to find it for 2 months, Naruto finally found it. It was the energy that his body was craving for. It was the spiritual energy of chakra. Spiritual energy and chakra is built up by exercising, so I picked that. After testing it, Naruto found he could manipulate it in any shape or form. It felt right using that type of energy. He could make a blade, a ball, a grenade, it was only limited to his imagination. But despite all of these achievements, he couldn't control chakra. He couldn't control it enough to do one simple jutsu. Now here he was, slaving away at trying to do the clone jutsu, but couldn't get it done. Naruto tried it again, but still couldn't get it right. Naruto fell into an uncontrollable rage. He tried so hard, yet he couldn't do this one simple fucking jutsu. Naruto fell to his knees and put his hands on his head. He leaned forward, then threw back his head in a primal roar. Somehow, that scream combined with his rage shocked something deep within him. He suddenly felt power. And a hell of a lot of it. It surrounded him completely. It took the form of a yellow fiery aura. Naruto felt his hair stand up. The changes to him were enough to shock him out of his rage state and bring him back to earth. Naruto couldn't explain it, but he could feel the power in him. It was like something far, far away was now in front of him. He felt the power, and it felt damn good. Once Naruto got control of himself, he knew that this wasn't the end. He could feel it. He knew that this power was something that would change his entire life. He also had to hide it. He had a sixth sense for danger. He knew when someone dangerous to him was watching him. Call it precognition, but he felt the Uchiha boy in his class look at him. The kid frequently stared daggers into the back of Naruto's head. Naruto never paid it any mind, but he could feel the danger behind that stare. The feeling was like listening to a serial killer laughing as he broke out of prison or something. Naruto couldn't explain it, but he felt the power leave all of a sudden. He felt his hair go down and saw the aura disappear. He also saw black at the edges of his vision. The black completely took over his vision, and Naruto fell unconscious. Fast forward September 6 years before the Valley of the End. After 5 months of trying, Naruto was going to re-attempt it. He fell unconscious many times trying, but he finally succeeded once. After finding out that it was because of his rage that he was able to reach that, Naruto tried to reach it again. After several failures, he did it. When he did, he felt the power increase and thought of increasing his spiritual energy. After months of training, Naruto was about to try it again. He tried it after every week of training, but it didn't do any good. He could never activate it. Now he was about to try it again. Naruto flared his aura like they told him to, gaining power, pushing his max. Naruto increased his power higher and higher, never stopping. After a while, he felt a barrier. Like a literal top on his power. Naruto focused his power harder and harder, knowing that barrier stood in between him and that transformation. Naruto forced his power until he could literally feel that barrier breaking. When it broke completely, the power rushed him again. This time Naruto was by a river, so when the transformation happened, he rushed over to see what it was. He looked at his reflection to see a completely different person looking at him. The person in the water had blonde hair sticking up in odd places. He had greenish blue eyes. The person had more muscles than Naruto ever had. There was also a fiery yellow aura around him. He thought that he was dreaming until he punched himself. He looked at the water and thought, that's me. I look completely different. This is unreal. After checking himself out more, Naruto walked away from the river and into town. After a while the aura died off, but the changes stayed the same. And when he went into town, no one noticed him. His hair and eyes were usually jet black. Now that the colors were different, he was unrecognizable, except for the whisker marks. Naruto headed across town to the forest on top of the Hokage monument. After getting there, Naruto tried to control the transformation. He found that with great difficulty he could barely control it. Naruto decided to train more. With training, he was able to transform without being angry. Maybe training will allow him to transform without so much strain. It's just like a cool jutsu. You want to launch it as fast as possible, and it took him 10 minutes of concentration to transform and 5 to get out of it without passing out. He needed to get the transformation faster. Fast forward December 27 to 6 years before the Valley of the End. 3 months later, Naruto could control the technique. It took 3 months of hard work and he even had to skip school sometimes, but he was able to control the transformation. Now all he had to do was concentrate and in a few seconds, the technique did its work, turning him to Super Naruto. This technique had also helped him with his chakra. He found that not only increased his spiritual energy, but his physical energy too. Somehow, it forced the cells in his body to give a whole lot more energy up. Naruto's chakra supplies increased dramatically. And now he could control that power. Naruto was out getting himself a soda and some ice cream with the Hokage. He told the Hokage everything about the ability. To say that the Hokage was shocked was an understatement. He couldn't lift his jaw off the ground for 10 minutes. He told Naruto that the technique was very dangerous and that he shouldn't tell anyone about it. Naruto already guessed that the Hokage would tell him that, but the Hokage was like a grandfather to him and for some reason he couldn't keep secrets from him. Anyway, they were eating ice cream when some guy came in. He looked like a ninja, but from the sign on his headband, it was easy to tell that he wasn't from Konoha. His headband had clouds on it, signaling that he was from Kumagakure no Sado, the village hidden in the clouds. He had a beard and a confident smirk on his face. The man came up to the Hokage and said hello today, Hokage-sama. How are you? Sarutobi put on a smile and said great. I was just on my way to that meeting. It starts in 10 minutes anyway. Naruto, it's getting late, you better get on home. Naruto said alright old man and got up. He started walking out of the ice cream parlor, but stopped. He felt a bad vibe from somewhere. After looking around, he found it coming from the cloud guy. The guy was roped up in a chat with the Hokage, so he didn't see Naruto looking at him. After a few years, Naruto learned to trust his vibes. They got him out of a lot of beatings. Although they probably wouldn't hurt, Naruto knew that it was still bad to be on the receiving end of a beating. So he learned to trust his senses. Naruto decided to trail that guy for the rest of the day. That same day, the man went to his hotel room, not aware of Naruto following him. Naruto was following him from the rooftops, a much easier way to stay on someone. Naruto saw the guy go into his hotel room and then someone leaped out of his window and left the building. Naruto didn't need to look into the room to see that the cloud guy had gone. Naruto trailed the guy to the Hyuga estate. The estate wasn't guarded that day for some reason. Anyway, the guy was easily able to sneak into a room and take something. Naruto thought it was jewelry or something, but when he saw the bag move and someone whine, he knew that someone was in the bag. Naruto knew that he had to stop this guy. He felt something in him awake and it completely took over. He jumped out of the trees he was hiding in to come in front of the guy. Naruto said stop. Let that person go. Now. The guy laughed. He said so some little kid thinks that he can play the hero, huh? Well then, I'll show you what happens to fools like you who try to play the hero. The guy charged Naruto. He was fast, but he didn't put up a defense. He thought Naruto was some regular 7-year-old kid. What he didn't expect was for Naruto to be fast also. Naruto was able to get a hit off on the guy's chest, making him drop the person in the bag. When the bag dropped, Naruto grabbed it and ran. He ran into the forest at a surprising pace, but the cloud guy was able to keep up, barely. Naruto stopped at a clearing. He pulled the bag off and there was a girl. She had on pajamas and had midnight blue hair. Her eyes were violet or whatever the Hyuga eye color is. She had on a small blush. She said NN Naruto-kun. What happened? The little girl was Hinata Hyuga, one of Naruto's classmates. She was a little shy, but she made friends easily. She also had a crush on Naruto, but Naruto didn't know that. Naruto said some guy from Cloud Village tried to kidnap you. He's coming. Hinata, I'll hold him off. Hinata became frantic. She heard from her dad that the Cloud Village sent over their head jounin to sign a peace treaty with the village. The head jounin wasn't someone to mess with and she guessed that he could keep up with some of the best. She couldn't let Naruto go out there and be killed. She said Naruto-kun, you can't. Naruto cut her off. He turned around to a part of the forest, saying hey, don't tell me what I can't do. We'll both be fine. I give you my word. And I never go back on my word. That's my nindo. My ninja way. I promise you won't get hurt. Now sit back and watch me show this guy what happens when he messes with my friends. Hinata blushed a little when she heard Naruto call her his friend. Hinata couldn't explain it, but Naruto's words soothed her. She calmed down and backed away. 2 seconds later, the head jounin from Cloud came out of the woods. He said you won't survive round 2 kid. And charged Naruto, this time taking Naruto seriously. Naruto said no, you won't survive this. Naruto then focused his power, easily activating his transformation. When he transformed, he let his power flare out. The power caused some changes in the landscape. The ground around him started crumbling. Small pebbles started raising up and being destroyed in midair. Hinata looked at Naruto and said Naruto, what happened to you? Naruto said this is my new technique I made up. It changes my hair yellow and makes me a whole lot stronger. With this move I can beat this fool. Naruto looked at the Cloud jounin and said alright. Now, let's go. Naruto then shot at the guy. 1 second Naruto was in front of the guy and in a blink he had his right fist embedded in the guy's chest. The guy's eyes came out of his eye sockets and swelled to the size of dinner plates. Naruto then turned around and kicked the guy with the sole of his left foot. The guy drifted 10 feet back before landing. The guy got up quickly, saying this time I'm not going easy on you. Now die. The guy started charging Naruto with a sword out in his right hand. Naruto yelled spirit sword jutsu. Naruto held his left arm out with his fingers extended and his thumb tucked into his palm. He focused Kai energy into his hand and a yellow mass of energy came out. The energy came out of his wrist and went for 3 feet growing into a point. The man stopped running and looked on in shock and thought to himself who is this kid? Hinata looked amazed as Naruto turned to her and said surprised. I call this my spirit sword jutsu. It creates a glowing yellow sword in place of my hand. Now I don't need a weapon. The Cloud jounin said no matter. I can easily kill you, little boy. The man continued his dash at Naruto and tried a vertical slash at Naruto. Naruto brought the sword up to block the strike. Sparks flashed as the guy pulled his sword back and tried to attack Naruto again with a diagonal strike. Then a horizontal. The man kept attacking, never letting up for even a second. Naruto didn't let the guy gain any ground. He met all of the guy's strikes with a blocker parry. While the Cloud jounin was busy striking Naruto, Naruto created another smaller blade on his right arm. When he blocked another vertical strike from the guy, he brought his other blade around, growing it in size. The blade then cut through the guy's sword like a hot knife through butter. The guy was momentarily shocked at the fact that his sword was destroyed. Naruto took advantage of the opportunity, stopped his spirit sword jutsu, and punched the guy in his chest. The Cloud jounin was knocked away by the hit. Naruto started charging energy into his left hand. When the attack charged completely, Naruto let it go, yelling silent grenade jutsu. The attack was small, but it traveled fast. The Cloud jounin had no chance. The attack hit him, but it didn't go off. It just hit him, and it didn't seem to faze him. The guy got up, charging Naruto again. He started doing hand seals, yelling out lightning style. Lightning bolt jutsu. From the skies, a yellow bolt of lightning came down at Naruto. Naruto jumped back, barely avoiding the blast. When he landed, the jounin was gone. Naruto looked around for him, but it was too late. He didn't know what was coming until he heard Hinata yell Naruto-kun, watch out. Naruto looked around but was too slow as a lightning attack hit him right in the face. He was knocked away by the blast but was able to land on his feet. He looked around but was shot again. He kept looking around for the jounin, but every time he thought he found him, he was blasted. After 12 blasts, the guy came out, saying you survived 12 blasts of my lightning bolt jutsu. That's impressive, kid. Maybe I'll take you and the girl to Cloud with me. Then we'll use you both to breed the ultimate ninja and take over the elemental countries. The man then started doing hand seals. He then ended, saying it was a good fight kid, but now you're. He was cut off as Hinata rushed forward, attacking the man. She jumped up and hit him with a gentle fist strike in the back. He-Man yelled in pain, then kneeled forward on one foot. He turned around and said stupid bitch. And smacked Hinata. Hinata grunted out in pain, then fell back. The man said I'll deal with you later bitch. The man turned around, saying now where were we? He turned around to see that Naruto was standing up. The guy started doing hand seals, yelling out lightning style. False darkness jutsu. The clouds bunched up together. And out of them came a huge beast of lightning. The beast roared and dashed forward for Naruto. Naruto just stood there, not doing anything. The beast then crashed into Naruto. There was a huge explosion, giving Hinata the idea that Naruto was dead. She started crying out of the blue, thinking that her friend and crush was dead. The Cloud Jounin started laughing. He said who did you say wouldn't survive this battle kid? Too bad. Your abilities could have been good to Cloud. To what the hell? The guy was interrupted as the smoke from the attack unexpectedly blew away. Standing there was Naruto, with torn clothes and bleeding wounds. Naruto looked at the guy and in his eyes was murder. The glare was so evil, it would have made Orochimaru piss his pants. Naruto said I was gonna leave you to the Hokage to decide what to do with you, but now I won't. For hurting Hinata-chan, your death will be here and now. Naruto shot at the guy, making a crater where he was at. The Cloud Jounin started doing hand seals, but was interrupted when Naruto appeared in his face out of nowhere. Naruto buried his fist in the man's face, blasting him backwards. The man was about to land, but Naruto interrupted him. Naruto appeared behind him and kicked him to the left. Naruto disappeared again and appeared behind the guy. He kicked him to the left again and disappeared. He kept that pattern up until the guy landed. The guy had broken hands, legs, arms, and a cracked rib. The guy steadily got up, wincing in pain. He was on his knees and hands, and when he looked up, there was Naruto with a spirit sword in his face. The guy said please. I was only acting on orders from the Raikage. Please have mercy on me. Naruto narrowed his eyes more than they were and yelled mercy. You want me to show you mercy? You kidnapped Hinata from her home for your village. You tried to kill me. You were about to kidnap me too. Just for your village. Tell me why. Why the hell should I show you mercy after that, huh? Why shouldn't I just kill you right here? The Jounin was whimpering and was about to say something when Naruto interrupted him. Naruto dropped out of his transformation, dropping the sprit sword. He said luckily for you, that's not my decision to make. Naruto then looked somewhere behind him. The Jounin turned around to see the Hokage and Hiashi Hyuga standing there. The Hokage said good job, Naruto. Not only did you save Hinata, but you stopped this Jounin from taking her to Kumagakure. As for this guy, I'll take him to the interrogation room for questioning. Naruto, how did you get here? Naruto said I felt a bad vibe from this guy. I trust my vibes, so I followed him all day. I followed him to his apartment where he changed clothes and headed toward the Hyuga estate. For some reason, the security was down. I found him trying to steal Hinata-chan, and I had to stop him. The Ashi Hyuga came forward, saying Naruto-san, what you did today was heroic. Not only did you save my daughter, but you stopped the village from signing a peace contract with an enemy in disguise that would have killed us all. I can't thank you enough. Naruto said you don't have to thank me. I did this because I wanted to save Hinata-chan. The Ashi said regardless of why you did it, you saved my daughter. I thank you. Naruto said no problem. The next day, the head Jounin of Cloud was about to be taken away to jail. The Raikage demanded the head Jounin back, but that was put to a stop when the Jounin made a public announcement to the citizens of Konoha about his secret mission at the village. A copy of what he said when he was interrogated was sent to the daimyo of Fire Country and the daimyo of Lightning Country. When the Raikage tried to declare war, the daimyo of Lightning Country immediately denied the option, saying that if they did go to war, then he would cut all funds to Kumagakure. The Raikage then quickly lost interest in starting a war. When Hinata mentioned that Naruto did a move called the Silent Grenade, Naruto told the Hokage what it did. Basically, the attack buried itself in the body. The attack would take the bloodstream to the heart, where by command of the person who made the move, it would swell up and grow, destroying the attacker from the inside out. The probe would only last for 3 days. When Naruto told the Hokage of that move, the Hokage decided to take the Raikage up on his offer and send the head Cloud Jounin back to Kumagakure. He traveled with 6 Anbu, one of them a shadow clone of the Hokage in disguise. When the head Jounin was delivered to Kumagakure, the Anbu immediately left, the clone dispelling. When the Hokage got the clone's knowledge, he had Naruto activate that technique. The head Jounin was blown up right in front of the Raikage. Naruto told Hinata not to tell anyone. If word got out that he could beat the head jounin of Cloud, it might infuriate some people. Hinata understood and kept her mouth closed. Since that day, her dad made sure she spent a lot of time with Naruto, knowing she was safe with him. Fast forward Konoha Ninja Academy 1 year before Valley of the End. Since Naruto saved Hinata, him and her had hit it off well. They were best friends. They were always seen together. They played together, they trained together, they ate together. If they didn't deny it every time someone said it, people would think they were dating. But the two did love each other. They just didn't know how to express it. Naruto taught Hinata some of his special spiritual-based attacks. She took a while longer to learn than he did, but she was easily able to do it. She even created some of her own attacks. They were always coming up with new ways to use spiritual energy. The day Naruto and Hinata came to school early and sat down in their seats next to each other, Hinata by the window and Naruto next to her. Things were peaceful until the door opened. A kid with jet black hair and black eyes said, "Dope, fight me, now." Naruto looked over to the door to see Sasuke Uchiha, his most hated rival. Ever since he first came there, he was hated by Sasuke for having black hair and eyes like an Uchiha. They were always at each other's throats and were always fighting. Naruto sighed and said, "Didn't you learn anything from the last? What's the record? 50 times I whipped your ass." Sasuke narrowed his eyes at Naruto and said, "That's just luck. Lightning doesn't strike twice." Naruto smirked and said, "You're right. It strikes 50 times, from my count." Sasuke glared at Naruto harder and said, "What dope, scared?" Naruto said, "Of who, you?" "No, I just don't want to dirty my hands messing with you. You're a small fry in comparison to me." Sasuke exploded with anger and said, "What did you say?" Naruto said, "You heard me. You will never beat me, Sasuke. I'm too strong for you." Sasuke said, "You talk a lot of trash. Let's see if you can back it up. After school. The field. I'll show you once and for all who's the best." Naruto said, "I'll be there. And I'll make sure to reserve you a room in the hospital." Needless to say, word spread around quickly. The rivalry between Sasuke and Naruto was the talk of the academy. Soon, everyone knew of the fight. Even some people not in school. When school got out, all of the kids who went to the school and their parents were crowded around, waiting to see the fight. At the field outside the academy, Sasuke was standing alone, surrounded by people, waiting to see him defeat Naruto. Somehow, 4 very special people heard about the match and were there to see it. The first was Danzo, the old warhawk of Konoha. He secretly led a secret police force called Root that didn't answer to the Hokage. The second and third were Hamura and Kaharu, the village elders. They served on the Konoha council and were there to see how the Uchiha would crush the demon that plagued their village for 12 years. The last person was Hiruzen Sarutobi, the Sandaime Hokage. The Hokage was there to make sure that after this match, no one tried to hurt Naruto. He also wanted to see how strong the 2 top academy students were. Sasuke said it's after school and Naruto didn't show. I guess that shows how cowardly he is. He didn't even show up. The crowd cheered at that. They were cheering Sasuke on until a voice called out, "Look above you, Dumbus." Sasuke looked up where he heard the voice coming from and saw Naruto there. Naruto was sitting on a branch looking at Sasuke with a bored expression. He said, "I've been sitting here for 5 minutes. I was waiting to see if you could find me here. I guess you couldn't." Naruto leaned back on the branch, falling off and flipping through the air. When he landed 2 feet in front of Sasuke. Naruto said, "Okay. You challenged me to a fight, Sasuke. I accepted. Is that true?" Sasuke said, "Yay. So what if it is?" Naruto took a quick look over at Hamura and Kaharu. He said, "Just clarifying for anyone wanting to pin your injuries on me. Now let's go." Sasuke said gladly. Naruto jumped at Sasuke, wanting to end this quickly. He twisted in midair and let his left foot out for a kick. His foot connected with Sasuke's face, knocking him back. Naruto landed and said, "Come on, Sasuke. You have to do better than that if you want this battle to last more than 30 seconds. Sasuke said, "I intend to." Naruto charged Sasuke, a blurred irregular villager's eyes. Sasuke saw Naruto coming and dodged the right fist aimed for his head. Sasuke brought his right fist up into an uppercut, hitting Naruto's chin. He then sent his left foot out in a front kick to Naruto's stomach. Naruto staggered back from the pain. He thought to himself he usually didn't see hits like those coming. What happened to him? Sasuke smirked. He said, "I bet you're wondering how I can see your attacks. Easy, look into my eyes." Naruto looked at Sasuke's eyes and saw something that he didn't expect. He has the Sharingan. He must have got it from the last time we fought. Naruto said, "I see you unlocked the crutch Sharingan." Sasuke narrowed his eyes at Naruto and said, "What?" Naruto said, "The crutch Sharingan. That's your bloodline. The Sharingan is nothing but a crutch used by the Uchiha family. It activates when their life is in danger. It never comes from training. The Sharingan comes when your own power can't save your ass. That's what's wrong with all bloodlines these days. They're all used as crutches. And when your crutch is beaten, you fall down. Sasuke glared daggers at Naruto and said the Uchiha clan is the supreme clan in Konoha. We are the best. We have the best bloodline in the world. The Uchiha are the strongest. Naruto smirked and said if that's true, why isn't Konoha a monarchy with the Uchiha as the ruling family? That's what Madara Uchiha wanted. But he couldn't get his way cause he was defeated by Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage. Look at your dad. He was a candidate for the Yondaime Hokage, but he lost to Minato Namikaze. Face it, Sasuke. Your clan was never up top. They were always 3 steps behind the Senju clan. It was the Senju who built Konoha. The Nidaime gave us the rivers we use as our water supply, and the Shadaime gave us the trees we use as cover to hide our village. They taught the Sandaime Hokage. He taught the Sannin. One of the Sannin taught the Yondaime. And under the rule of the Senju, our village has peace with other great hidden villages and scared the rest into a ceasefire. The Shadaime was able to control wood. He was also able to tame the Biju. He sent each Biju to a great elemental country so there would be less violence between the hidden villages. The Nidaime was able to control water to where he could use the water molecules in the air. The Uchiha practically worship fire, yet none of you have been able to control fire like the Nidaime controlled water. All the Uchiha have is a tampered with version of the Byakugan and can control the Kyuubi. But since the Yondaime killed him, your clan doesn't even have that going for them. And it took only one Anbu captain to kill all of your clan in one night. Face it, Sasuke, your clan is an embarrassment to this village and was never up top. Sasuke looked shocked at Naruto's statements. He worshipped his clan all of his life. He dedicated himself to his clan, and yet, here was this no clan orphan loser dragging his clan name into the ground. Sasuke looked at Naruto and said in a lower voice, I'll kill you. Naruto glared at Sasuke and said, try it. You use deadly force against me, and I'll kill you where you stand, weakling. When Naruto called Sasuke a weakling, Sasuke's body started changing. His muscle mass increased by a lot. His hair started changing shape and turning blue. He also started getting a yellow aura around him. When it ended, Sasuke looked completely different. He didn't know what happened to him, but he liked it. Naruto looked at Sasuke's new form and realized that this was bad. This was like his technique, but different too. The amount of muscle mass was more than his. His hair turned blue, but his eyes were still in their Sharingan form. When Sasuke turned into that muscle-bound fighter, Naruto felt something rise in him. It was a feeling like fear, but different. It was telling him to either run or go all out on Sasuke. Naruto couldn't explain it, so he didn't listen to it. Sasuke disappeared. Naruto looked around, but didn't see Sasuke anywhere. Sasuke then appeared in his face, punching him in his gut. Naruto immediately drifted back, going through the crowd and hitting a tree. Naruto looked up to see Sasuke smirking at him. Naruto said, you don't got nothing to be smiling about, Sasuke. I'm tired of holding back on you. Naruto stood up and clenched his fists to his side. He concentrated his power, letting out a primal yell. The effects were immediate. Naruto's hair stuck up. His hair turned golden and his eyes changed color. His muscles also got bigger. Naruto said, let's go, Sasuke. Immediately both disappeared. After a few seconds, a shockwave was heard in the air. It felt like 2 hulking things smashing together. The shockwave even blew a few people back. Where the shockwave originated from, the 2 dueling ninjas reappeared. When they reappeared, Naruto had his fist in Sasuke's face. Sasuke leaned back from the hit and flipped backwards, letting his foot out, kicking Naruto in the chin. Naruto went flying back and landed on the ground. Naruto got up quickly, dashing at Sasuke. Sasuke charged at Naruto and let out a punch. Naruto ducked under the punch and focused energy into his fists. Naruto then yelled out spirit tags. He then started attacking Sasuke at lightning fast speeds. With his Sharingan still on, Sasuke was able to block half of the attacks. But a few got through. Without warning, Naruto backed away. He jumped far away from Sasuke and landed. He said spirit tags, ignite. For a second, nothing happened. But then, Sasuke started glowing. He looked at his body to see that the glow was coming mostly from his arms, but there were some spots on his chest that were glowing also. Suddenly, the glowing spots exploded. When the smoke cleared, Sasuke was still standing. His clothes were partially ripped now. His shirt was blown to small scraps that still hung on him. His pants had rips in them too. But other than that, Sasuke was okay. Naruto said, it seems you're stronger than I thought. Sasuke charged Naruto, screaming all the way. Naruto dodged the left punch Sasuke opened up with and jumped back when Sasuke tried to knee him in his gut. While he was still in the air, Naruto charged energy into his hands and shot off 6 balls of energy. The attacks collided with Sasuke and he was encased in smoke. Naruto put his hands in front of his chest and charged energy into them. The energy created a red ball of energy in front of his chest. Naruto then thrusted his hands forward, yelling out destruction wave. The red attack sailed through the sky, hitting Sasuke off guard. Sasuke flew back at the attack, making a crater in the ground. He was bleeding from his chest where the attack hit him and was bleeding from his lip. He got up, still in a psychotic state of rage. He yelled at the top of his lungs like a madman, "I'll kill you." Sasuke charged Naruto again. It was at that point Naruto realized something. His transformation is like my move. The problem with his is that it makes him more powerful, but decreases his speed. My transformation makes it so all attributes are increased equally. That move increases his power a lot, but it doesn't do much for speed. That's where I gotta own him. Naruto waited until Sasuke was right on him, then disappeared. Sasuke looked around for Naruto but couldn't find him. He heard a voice say, "Hey Dumbus, look behind you." Sasuke turned around to see Naruto holding another ball of energy in between both of his hands by his right hip. Except this one was green. Naruto said, "Say hello," to Super Naruto's Konoha cannon. Naruto then turned his body, thrusting the attack forward with great force. The attack sailed through the air, straight toward Sasuke. The attack hit him full force. Sasuke was blown back. Through the smoke, you couldn't see Sasuke. But then immediately the smoke blew away. Sasuke was still standing there, with a few bruises. He charged Naruto again, but Naruto dodged his punch. But Naruto didn't dodge the headbutt that came his way. Naruto was blown back from the attack. Naruto got up, thinking, damn, that attack was strong. I can't let him hit me again like that. If I do, I'm finished. Naruto rushed Sasuke, with speeds only the experienced ninja could follow. He rushed Sasuke, but Sasuke dodged his punch. Naruto then started attacking at a fast pace, making Sasuke strain to keep up with him. Naruto jumped back in the air, letting out Kai blasts all the way. Sasuke dodged them, but Naruto was gone. He turned around, only for his face to meet a boot. Sasuke was sent back by the sheer force behind the attack. Naruto charged energy into his left hand while Sasuke was still in midair. The energy grew out into a blade of energy. Naruto used his right hand to charge energy in. The ball of energy was black. Naruto thrusted his right hand forward, yelling out "Spirit Shot." The attack shot off and hit Sasuke while he was still in the air. Naruto then shot forward with the spirit sword and cut Sasuke all over his body. Sasuke was on all fours, kneeling in pain. Naruto then held the sword tip at Sasuke's head. He said, "Give up now Sasuke, or I'll extend this blade through your brain." Sasuke glared at Naruto and said, "Fuck you." Naruto glared back and said, "Wrong answer." Naruto then lifted his right foot up, kicking Sasuke right in the face. Naruto then charged up energy in his right hand again, but this energy was 10x what he usually charges an attack with. He yelled out "Spirit Shot 10x." And hit Sasuke with the attack at point blank range. The attack exploded and when it cleared, Sasuke was back to normal, knocked out. Naruto was standing there with singed clothes. He said, "And another one bites the dust." Maki Haruno, Sakura Haruno's mother, came forward. She took Naruto's arm and put a kunai to his neck. She said, "As a member of the Konoha Council, I am putting you under arrest for assaulting Sasuke Uchiha." Naruto didn't budge. He grabbed the woman's arm and tightened his hand. He focused spiritual energy into his hand, tightening his grip. After a few seconds, a sickening snap broke through the air. People watching realized that Maki's arm was broken. Naruto said, "Wrong. At the beginning I asked Sasuke and he admitted to asking for this match. That means that he knew what would happen, yet he went forward with it. I can't be blamed for this. As for you, with that kunai to my neck, you pushed it closer to my neck to where it would regularly draw blood. In the eyes of the judicial system of Konoha, that's assault. I have the right to kill you, but I won't do it." Naruto then dragged her by her broken arm, with her screaming all the way. He pulled her by her arm and threw her outside the ring. Naruto nodded to the Hokage briefly, the Hokage nodding back. Naruto then walked away, to the yells and screams of the people. Naruto paid them no mind. He walked away and dropped his transformation, only to run into Hinata again. They both started walking down the street together. She said, "You know you're gonna get hell for that." Naruto said, "I don't care. They can write it down, publish it in the newspaper, I don't give a fuck." Hinata leaned in and said, "You know that one-armed one-eyed guy at the match?" At Naruto's nod she continued. "That man is named Danzo. Word is, he runs an underground military force called Root." Naruto said, "So? I don't care." Hinata said, "My father also told me that at every council meeting he asks to take custody of you, but when someone else wants custody of you, he's the first to reject it." Naruto said, "So what's he want with me?" Hinata said, "My father said that he might know of your ability to transform." Naruto scoffed and said, "Well, he certainly knows now." Hinata said, "Well, I don't think he'll ask for you anymore. He might ask Sasuke." Naruto got a serious look on his face and said, "You think he wants Sasuke to perfect that transformation?" Hinata said, "Yeah. He also wants to go to war with every country. He's war crazy and with Sasuke's transformation in his pocket, he'll certainly win. But he'll need a place to launch that worldwide attack from. A base. And the closest place would be." Naruto's eyes widened and said, "Konoha." Hinata said, "Right. He might try to take over Konoha. If he has Sasuke's transformation with him, he might just take over. Naruto said no, he won't. I won't let something like that happen. Even if I have to kill, I won't let someone like Danzo take over Konoha. Hinata said I know. And so does Danzo. He might try to get you too. With both of you, his chances of winning will be higher. Naruto said don't worry, Hinata-chan. I'll watch my back. Hinata said, but I'm worried about you. Naruto said you don't have to be. I can handle that one-armed freak easily. Hinata said, but you better watch out for Danzo. He's a sneaky bastard and he'll play every cheap trick he can to get what he wants. 2 weeks later, Naruto had just walked out of the academy with his headband. He had graduated and was a genin. To Naruto, the test was incredibly easy. He finished with the highest scores in the class. While he was walking out, he heard a voice call out to him. He looked over to where the sound came from to see Mizuki standing there. He was the assistant teacher and was always someone Naruto's instincts deemed hazardous. Naruto always listened to his instincts since they saved his life a lot of times. Nevertheless, Naruto walked over to Mizuki. Mizuki said Naruto, I need your help with something quick. Naruto said sure, what is it? Mizuki said I'm on my test for becoming a jounin. One of the requirements is to get a ninja of lower level to get something from the Hokage Tower called the Forbidden Scroll of Seals. I need you to steal it and bring it to a shed outside the village. Would you help me, Naruto? Naruto said sure, you can count on me. Well he said that, Naruto was thinking what the fuck. You have to be a complete idiot to fall for that one. How stupid does he think I am? It's called the Forbidden Scroll of Seals for a reason, Dumbus. The Forbidden gave you away. Mizuki said great, Naruto. Here. Mizuki handed Naruto a map. He continued, saying this map will show you where you can find the shed outside the village. I'm really counting on you Naruto. Naruto said okay, I'll go right now. Naruto then took off for the Hokage Tower. When he arrived, he told the Hokage what he was told by Mizuki. The Hokage said that he would never endanger the Forbidden Scroll of Seals like that. The Hokage was about to call the Anbu to arrest Mizuki, but Naruto had a different plan. He always wanted to fight someone of higher rank than him. At shed outside village, Naruto was waiting outside the village with the real Forbidden Scroll of Seals. He thought that since he was waiting for Mizuki to come back, he might as well look at the scroll. He saw the first move on there was the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, the Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto read the description. The Kage Bunshin no Jutsu is an A-rank jutsu. This jutsu creates clones like the basic Bunshin jutsu, but the clones are solid. The Kage Bunshin no Jutsu takes a lot of chakra to complete, which is why I labeled it forbidden. 10 ninja of the village tried it and rolled over dead from chakra exhaustion. After experimenting with the jutsu, I found that the clones all take a specific amount of chakra. The chakra they have is used to sustain their life. If they run out of chakra, they poof out of existence. They can also do jutsu, provided that they have enough chakra. Whatever the clone saw, heard, or read is transferred back to the user when the clone is dispelled. Also, when the clone is dispelled, whatever amount of chakra they have left is sent back to the user. If too many Kage Bunshin are dispelled at one time, the knowledge can cause severe headaches, even death. If you learn this jutsu, I advise you to be careful. Signed, Hashirama Senju. Naruto looked at the hand seals of the jutsu and immediately got started on doing the jutsu. After a little while, he got the technique down. He sat down and read the scroll again and saw another attack like the Kage Bunshin. Fire style. Solar destruction. The fire style. Solar destruction jutsu is an A-rank jutsu. The solar destruction jutsu is different from many other jutsu in the fact that hand seals aren't required to do the technique. This attack draws on the sun's rays and focuses it into a blast. The user can direct the blast to wherever they want it to go. This attack takes up a lot of chakra, more than the Kage Bunshin no jutsu. This attack takes longer to charge up during the night, but other than that, night and day don't affect the jutsu any. This attack is not recommended for anyone lower than Jounin rank. You may be able to use chakra to compensate for the lack of solar energy, but I haven't tried that yet. I advise you to be cautious of using this attack. Signed, Minato Namikaze. Naruto looked at the hand seals and tried to start the jutsu. It took a while, but he was able to get a blast ready. When he fired it, he saw that it burned things, like a flamethrower. Naruto kept working on the attack and eventually tried to add chakra to the attack. When he did, the attack went out of control and blew up right in his face. After trying it a few more times, Naruto realized that it kept blowing up because of his lack of chakra control. When more chakra is added to the equation than the amount used to gather solar energy, it becomes too much for Naruto to control, and it blows up. Naruto got up and tried it again, but this time he used spiritual energy instead of chakra. The attack grew bigger, but he was able to control it. He didn't even need that much sunlight. Naruto looked up in the sky to see that it was dusk. Naruto realized that Mizuki wouldn't be there for a few hours, so he took a little nap. When he woke up, Mizuki still wasn't there. After a few minutes, Iruka showed up. He landed in front of Naruto and said, "Naruto, what the hell are you doing? You know that the forbidden scroll of seals is called forbidden for a reason." Naruto said, "I did this to help Mizuki." He said that he was going for his Jounin exam and one of the tests is to get a ninja of lower rank to bring this scroll to him. Iruka looked at Naruto questioningly and said, "What are you talking about, Naruto? The Jounin exam is nothing like that. The Jounin exam doesn't even take place for another 6 months." Naruto faked ignorance again and said, "But Mizuki told me where to find the scroll. He told me where this shack was. He even told me how to get here. Why would he tell me this?" Iruka narrowed his eyes and thought a little bit but then widened them in surprise. He said, "If Mizuki told you about this place, then that means." Iruka was cut off when a kunai came forward and impaled him in the chest. Iruka stumbled back and fell down. Naruto ran toward him to see if he was in trouble, but saw that the wound would only bleed for a while and that Iruka would be fine, but he wasn't in any shape to fight. Naruto looked to where the kunai came from, but already knew who threw it. Mizuki was standing on a tree limb, laughing maniacally. He said, "I see that you're stupid enough to fall for such a stupid lie, Naruto. Really, a Jounin exam, how stupid can you get?" Naruto said, "I'm not the stupid one, Mizuki. You are. So tell me, what are you planning to do with the scroll?" Mizuki said, "Well, I might as well tell you since you and your pathetic teacher are about to die anyway. My plan was to take the scroll to Orochimaru and use it to take over Konoha." Naruto chuckled and said, "Well, that's a stupid idea. Your one problem is that you think you can beat me." Mizuki said, "We'll see. But before we start, I want to tell you why the villagers hate you so much." Iruka looked at Mizuki and said, "No, Mizuki, you can't. It's forbidden to. Ever since the day the decree was placed in effect." Naruto turned around to Iruka and said, "What decree are you talking about, Iruka-sensei?" Mizuki said, "And you think I care?" "Naruto, the decree was about that no one can tell the younger generation that the nine-tailed fox lives inside you. The same fox that destroyed our village and killed our Yondaime is you. It was sealed inside your body when you were born and that's why everyone hates you. You're nothing but a demon in a pathetic human's body. You're a disgrace to our village, Naruto Uzumaki, and prepare to die." Naruto widened his eyes in shock while Mizuki kept talking. Mizuki saw that Naruto was shocked, so he took the chance and grabbed a giant shuriken from his back and threw it at Naruto. When it was 5 feet away from Naruto, Naruto vanished. Naruto reappeared behind Mizuki and said only 3 words. "I already know." Naruto then kicked Mizuki in his back. While Mizuki was falling off the tree branch, Naruto shot 3 Kai blasts at Mizuki while Mizuki was still in the air. Mizuki fell 20 feet and landed in a smoking heap. But he didn't stay down. He got back up to his feet and said, "So, you're stronger than I originally thought. No matter. I can still deal with you." Mizuki made a hand seal and that's when all hell broke loose. What Naruto didn't see was that Mizuki had a marking on his neck. But it wasn't just any marking. It was the Earth Curse seal of Orochimaru. The lines of the seal started spreading all around Mizuki's body, increasing his power. Naruto sensed the power rolling off Mizuki and knew that this wouldn't be good. With a power increase like that, it would be hard to match. Naruto shot off 3 Kai blasts quickly, hoping to get the drop on Mizuki. Unfortunately, the curse seal multiplied Mizuki's power to a great level, so he dodged the blasts. Mizuki rushed to Naruto and started attacking. Naruto fought back and matched Mizuki blow for blow. Mizuki tried to jump back a little and pull out a sword, but when he swung it at Naruto, it didn't faze him. Naruto easily broke it on his forearm and punched Mizuki in his face. Naruto charged up energy into his right hand. The attack took a dark glow. Naruto aimed his hand to where Mizuki fell at and shot it out, yelling "Spirit Shot." The attack sailed towards Mizuki, but Mizuki stood up and jumped into the tree branches, leaving the attack to detonate on the floor. Naruto looked up to see that Mizuki had jumped off the tree branches and was coming back down. Naruto charged up the attack in his hand again. He said, "You can't dodge while you're in the air, Mizuki. Spirit Shot." The second attack sailed through the air to Mizuki's spot in the air. Mizuki braced himself for the attack and it hit him. When the attack exploded, a smokescreen was left. There was a plume of smoke that trailed down to the ground and Naruto realized that that was where Mizuki landed. There was still smoke over there. Naruto took advantage of the smoke and dashed over to the spot and let out a Kai-charged right punch. The punch was caught. Naruto tried to pull back, but Mizuki had a tight grip on his fist. When the smoke cleared, there was something standing where he thought Mizuki was. The monster's ears were longer than a human's and were pointed up. The monster had claws in place of nails. It had dark brown fur growing everywhere, with black stripes. The monster was smiling, showing its grotesque pointed teeth. It was drooling. Its eyes were changed to resemble those of a cat. The monster spoke in a voice that shadowed Mizuki's. It said, "Now for round 2. The monster pulled Naruto in and punched Naruto in the chest with his right fist. The punch was even stronger than before. If Naruto didn't have bones of steel, the lower part of his backbone would be cracked. Naruto went flying backwards at a fast pace. He thought he would keep flying, but Mizuki interfered. He ran from his original spot and reappeared behind Naruto. He drew his right foot back and kicked Naruto right in the head, sending him flying upwards. The only thought that passed through his mind was increased strength, increased speed, this Mizuki doesn't play. Naruto looked up to see that Mizuki was already up there, his left foot extended with a heel directly over his head. He attack probably knocked something in Naruto's mind out of place. Naruto was propelled down by the kick, landing on the ground and making a crater. Naruto groaned in pain, but had to cut it short. He rolled to his left, barely dodging Mizuki coming down with a left punch. Naruto barely dodged, but where Mizuki's arm struck was a foot-deep hole. Naruto got up on one knee, but couldn't get all the way up because Mizuki saw him and punched him in his face. Naruto went flying backwards from the attack, finally hitting a tree. Naruto was in too much pain to stop himself from falling off the tree. He landed on the ground in a broken heap. Naruto looked up to see Mizuki standing there with his foot up. It looked like he was about to smash down on Naruto's head. He said, "Any last words, you demon filth?" An unidentified female voice came from the treetops. It said, "I got some." Spirit arrow. Out of the treetops came a yellow arrow. The arrow sailed towards Mizuki and hit him in his neck. The arrow then exploded. When the smoke cleared, Mizuki looked fine, except for some singed fur around where the arrow hit. The voice said, "Want some more?" Spirit shot. The same attack that Naruto blasted Mizuki with earlier sailed through the air. Mizuki brought his arm up to block, blocking the blast without much trouble. The voice then said, "Heaven's wrath." The white ball of energy sailed through the air, going for Mizuki. Mizuki braced himself to block it. It worked, but the fur on his forearms wasn't growing back anytime soon. Mizuki laughed, saying, "You can't defeat me. This no-talent demon couldn't. What makes you think you can?" Mizuki heard a voice behind him that said, "No talent. We'll see about that." Mizuki didn't have to turn around to see who it was. But he turned around anyway. And when he did, his face was reintroduced to Naruto's right fist. This punch was a lot stronger though. The attack sent him sailing back into a tree. Mizuki hopped back up to his feet and saw Super Naruto standing there. Naruto made a dash for Mizuki. But with the power increase from the second level curse seal, he was able to see Naruto dash at him. Mizuki decided to meet Naruto at the middle. He went on all fours and dashed forward, going twice as fast as he usually would have. Him and Naruto met in the middle, their fists pushing for power. While Mizuki and Naruto were having their push of war, the person who attacked Mizuki dropped out of the trees. It was Hinata, who didn't see that coming. She ran over to where Iruka was and put her hand on his chest. She took out the kunai still lodged in his chest. She focused chakra into her hands and said mystical palm jutsu. Her hand took a green glow around it. When she put her hands on the wound, it started closing. After a few seconds it healed perfectly. Hinata turned around to see that Mizuki and Naruto were done pushing each other. They pulled back and punched each other in the face. After Mizuki punched him, Naruto phased away. He reappeared behind Mizuki and tried to punch him, but Mizuki crouched down. Mizuki jumped up, trying to headbutt Naruto, but Naruto leaned back and avoided the attack. Naruto jumped backwards and shot off Kai blasts. They hit Mizuki, but thanks to the second level of the curse seal, it barely affected him. Naruto looked behind him to see that Hinata was right behind him. He said, "You chose a great time to join the party, Hinata. I would have been taking a dirt nap if it wasn't for you. Thanks." She smirked and said, "I know. I'm just doing my job of saving your butt." What was this, like the 12th time? Naruto frowned and said 11th time. That business with that assassin doesn't count. Naruto let a small smirk come on his face. He looked to see that the smoke from the Kai blasts were clearing and Mizuki was charging him. He turned to Hinata and winked to her. He said, "I think we should do the feint and blast." Hinata said, "I do too." Hinata started charging an attack up while Naruto charged Mizuki. He kept charging until Mizuki was 3 feet away from him. The Naruto disappeared. When he did, Hinata cried out heaven's wrath. And sent out a wide attack that sailed and hit Mizuki dead on. Mizuki flew back from the force of the blast. When he landed, Naruto appeared beside him. Naruto made a hand seal and said Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. All of a sudden, 9 more Narutos appeared around the circle. They all cupped their hands beside their hip. They charged up energy until it turned an orange-red color. They then said fire style. Solar destruction and fired. The concentrated beams of spiritual and solar energy all went forward, hitting Mizuki dead on. After a few seconds the Kage Bunshins ran out of power and they disappeared. Naruto let the attack die and looked into the smoke of what was left behind. When the smoke cleared, there was Mizuki. He was knocked out of the second level curse seal form. He was laying there with his clothes burnt and unconscious. Naruto ran down and picked up Mizuki. Hinata picked up the forbidden scroll and helped up Iruka. Naruto walked over to Hinata, smiled and said thanks again. "I don't know where I would be without you, Hinata." Hinata smiled and looked at Naruto. Naruto and Hinata kept looking at each other like they were having some kind of out-of-body experience. It was like they were in their own little world. Iruka saw this and smirked. He thought to himself, there's nothing more romantic than your first true love. I hope they invite me to their wedding. But now's the time to break this up. Iruka said, come on you lovebirds. We gotta get this traitor and this scroll back to the village. You can stare at each other later. Iruka's statement knocked them out of La La Land and made them realize that they had been staring at each other for a while now. They looked away from each other quickly, blushing. Iruka laughed and said, come on already. Hinata and Naruto ran forward, catching up to Iruka. While they were walking back to the village, they occasionally looked at the other. And Naruto and Hinata were at Ichiraku's with Iruka. They had just dropped off Mizuki to the hospital. He was under Anbu guard and was watched all the time. Naruto made a clone and told it to deliver the forbidden scroll to the Hokage. Afterwards, Iruka volunteered to pay for Ichiraku's. Naruto and Hinata were eating, avoiding the other's gaze. Iruka said, guys, there's something I gotta say. Now that you're genin, things will get a whole lot harder. The enemies you'll have to fight won't hold back. They will be trying to kill you. You'll be entering the lonely life of a shinobi, an assassin. You have to expect danger everywhere you go. It's a really hard job and I hope that you two are ready for it. Naruto smirked to himself and said, don't worry Iruka-sensei. Of course we're ready. I'll become the greatest ninja ever and you'll be there to support me, won't you? Iruka smiled and said, Naruto, you know that I support you. But I'm not the ones you'll have to convince that you're the best. You'll have to convince the villagers and everyone against you that you're the best choice to lead them. Naruto said, don't worry about me, I can. Hinata said, I hope you can. After their meal, Naruto and Hinata left the ramen stand to go train some more. Since Naruto taught Hinata about Kai, they've been training every day together. After he taught her how to control the energy, they put their brains together and, using intellect combined with child imagination, they created many techniques together. Naruto walked to the middle of the training ground they were at and said, okay, Hinata. Show me what you got. Hinata bent down a little and concentrated. Power started rolling off of her. Her clothes started blowing in the wind her power created. When she stopped, she had an aura. The fiery aura was dark blue at the end and white in the middle. She said, how's this? Naruto whistled and said, that's great Hinata. You're getting really strong. Now I've been racking my brain for new ideas for attacks and I came up with one while I was waiting on Mizuki last night. You remember that show we watched when we were little kids? Hinata racked her brain for an answer and then said, you mean Power Rangers? Naruto said, yeah. You know how the guy in white could fly? Hinata smiled a little, seeing where this was going. Naruto said, well, I thought we could try flying like them. Think about it Hinata. How many ninja do you know who can fly? Hinata thought about it and said, well, actually none. It can't be any different than anything else we can do. Let's try it. Naruto smiled a little and said, cool. Now when I was trying it before Mizuki came, I was able to levitate myself off the ground a few feet. What you have to do is, after explaining the gist of it to Hinata, she tried it. After concentrating, she was able to levitate a few feet off of the ground. When she landed, she and Naruto tried again. They got higher and higher. After practicing more and more, they were able to fly easily. They were doing cartwheels and backflips while levitating over some of the tallest trees in the forest. If you're wondering how they can do that, they've known how to manipulate Kai for years. Manipulating it to fly isn't really gonna be that hard since they're experienced. Soon they were racing all over the forest. After they got bored and landed, Naruto and Hinata started their training. With Naruto helping her, Hinata's strength grew to tremendous levels. She grew a lot of muscle and she was strong enough to carry fully grown men over twice her body weight without trouble. After training that day, the two went to the Hokage Tower. Since they graduated from the academy, they had 3 weeks to do whatever they wanted. But they had to get their picture taken and get emancipated for their ninja license. The duo decided to get their duties out of the way now. After they took their picture, they went to the Hokage's office. They turned in their ninja licenses and the Hokage stamped them and their citizenship records to show that they were legally emancipated. As Naruto and Hinata were about to leave, they were stopped by a kid busting into the Hokage's office. The kid charged at the Hokage with a shuriken, saying your time is through, Grandpa. I'll take that hat then I'll become Hokage. As the kid was running toward the Hokage, he wasn't watching where he was going and he slipped on his huge scarf. The kid fell forward and hit his head on the wooden floor. When they saw that, Hinata and Naruto just started laughing. Seeing them laughing, the kid got embarrassed. Since Naruto was closest to him, he blamed Naruto for tripping him. Naruto said I didn't trip you kid. You fell over your own scarf, you klutz. The kid started yelling at Naruto. He said shut up. I know you tripped me, now apologize. Naruto was starting to get pissed off now. He'd been blamed for a bunch of shit that he didn't do in his life and he wasn't gonna let some snot-nosed kid blame him for shit. Naruto picked up the kid by his collar and was about to punch him before a man wearing all black and black sunglasses came in. He saw what Naruto was doing and he said drop the grandson of the Hokage, you filth. Naruto looked at the guy, then looked at the kid, then looked at the Hokage. He got a confused look on his face and said this snot-nosed punk is your grandson. The kid smirked and said let me guess. You're gonna be like the other punks in this village and kiss my ass since I'm the Hokage's grandson. The Hokage's eyes widened. He said Konohamaru, don't use that kind of language. The kid, now known as Konohamaru, ignored his grandfather. The kid closed his eyes and put on a smile, expecting to be placed down, apologized to, and see the guy run away. Unfortunately for him, that wasn't the case. Naruto punched the kid in his head, sending him crashing into the desk of the Hokage. Naruto said I don't care if you were the Hokage's grandmother. If you don't respect me, then don't expect me to respect you, punk. The guy in black looked appalled at the fact that the demon hit the Hokage's grandson. The guy pulled out a kunai and went to stab Naruto, but when it reached him, the knife went through a spectral transparent version of Naruto. Naruto tapped the man on his shoulder. He turned, only to hear Naruto yell out spirit tags. The man then fell 10 punches to his chest. They were very light, like Naruto just tapped him. The Jounin came out fine, saying what the hell was that? Naruto then smirked and said spirit tags, ignite. The man's chest then started glowing yellow. The glow grew brighter and brighter. The glow then exploded, blowing the Jounin out of the window. Naruto looked at the Hokage and said who the hell was that closet homosexual? Konohamaru looked at Naruto, amazed at what he did. He just completely blew Abisu sensei to the Hokage monument. How did he do that? That was amazing. The Hokage chuckled to himself a little and said that was Abisu. He's the special Jounin tutor for my grandson. Naruto said good. Tell that catcher to stay away from me. I won't hold back next time. People like him had been giving Naruto crap all his life. It pissed him off to no end to see that prejudice stretched so far into the ninja system. He wasn't gonna take it anymore. Naruto walked out of the Hokage's office, Hinata behind him. What they didn't know was that Konohamaru had snuck out of his granddad's office and was following them from behind. Well, actually they knew, they just didn't react. The two ninja walked down the street, with Konohamaru following them. He was following them in a disguise that looked like a box painted to look like a rock. When they went by fences, Konohamaru would pull out a sheet painted the same color as the fence, so he could blend in. Unfortunately for him, he held it up the wrong way, so it actually made him stand out more. The two ninja Konohamaru was trailing both saw what he was doing. Naruto said quietly to Hinata what the hell is wrong with this kid? No rock is shaped perfectly square. And he's holding up the fence tarp wrong. How stupid does this kid think we are? Hinata smacked Naruto in the back of the head. She scolded him, saying don't make fun of him. He's just a beginner in the ninja arts. He can't even get into the academy yet. Do you remember how you were when you first started learn to be a ninja? Naruto pouted a little and said yeah, I kept messing up. It took a long time for me to get things right. I probably got caught 100 times at least before I got better. Hinata said Konohamaru is exactly like you. Right now, he doesn't have any experience. He's a beginner. I bet it would really make him happy if you gave him a few pointers. Naruto said no Hinata. Did you see what that kid did? He barged into the Hokage's office without any respect to the Hokage or whoever he may be talking to. Hinata sighed. The kid was so much like Naruto that Naruto didn't even see it. She said Naruto, you interrupt the Hokage in a meeting once a week, at least. You always barge in there, with no respect to the Hokage or whoever he may be talking to. Naruto said he blamed me for tripping him when it was completely his fault. Hinata smiled a little. She said do you remember last week? You loaned me your sword to practice with since mine was in the shop getting repaired. I gave it back to you, and then 2 days later you accused me of stealing it. I go to your house and find your sword under your bed. Naruto got a sheepish look on his face and said I forgot I put it under there for safekeeping. I'm sorry. Hinata said, it's okay. But you accused me of something I didn't do, just like Konohamaru accused you of something you didn't do. Naruto was now losing his edge. He was losing his grounds on not training Konohamaru. He said he started acting all smug about being related to the Hokage. Hinata said his grandfather is one of the best ninja in the world. Can you blame him for being proud of his grandpa? What he did was wrong, I admit that. But he's a little kid. He still has time to improve. And if someone with a good heart like you doesn't help him he might never improve. Naruto closed his eyes and fake pouted. He said why can't I ever win an argument? Hinata laughed at him and said you lose so many, I expected you to be used to that by now. Naruto mock laughed. He said real funny. Naruto and Hinata started heading for a training ground, with Konohamaru following them. When they got there, they decided to show off a little. Naruto and Hinata faced each other, waiting for the other to begin. The wind was blowing leaves off of the trees surrounding the training ground. As a leaf flew in between them, their glares hardened. When the leaf hit the ground, it was a soundless signal to both to begin. The two disappeared, moving faster than Konohamaru could see them. They reappeared in the middle, but only for an instant. Their elbows were pushing against each other, a look of strain and anger upon each face. They then disappeared again. They reappeared with Naruto's kick being blocked by Hinata's forearm. They disappeared again in a blink of an eye. That's how it kept happening. They would reappear for a brief second and then disappear. As they were moving too fast for him to hear, Konohamaru could hear their blows through the air. They sounded like thunderclaps each time. With each shockwave, the trees would move a little. Konohamaru looked on in amazement. He was thinking to himself, how are they doing that? Naruto and Hinata reappeared in the same places they started at. Naruto had his knees bent. His hands were at his chest, a shoulder width apart. His face had a look of strain on it. Then, a dark red ball of energy started to grow there. The ball started as small as the top of a sharpened pencil, but quickly grew. It grew until Naruto's hands were struggling to hold it. The look of strain on his face was growing more and more. Hinata was also doing something of the sort. He was standing upright, her body turned so the right side of her body was facing Naruto. Her arm was stretched out, the palm showing. She focused energy into her palm, having a similar effect as Naruto's. The attack started off as a small ball the size of a sharpened pencil tip. But then it grew quickly, turning black. The attack grew to the size of a beach ball, Hinata struggling to gather and control the immense energy for the attack. Naruto was also charging his attack up. When it was ready, Naruto thrusted his hands forward, yelling destruction wave. Hinata also let her attack go. He pulled her arm back a little, then thrusted her hand forward, yelling spirit shot. Konohamaru was watching them gather energy, becoming more and more amazed by the second at what they were doing. The amount of energy is so great that you can actually see it. I thought that could only be done by the strongest of jutsu. I have to get them to teach me that. If I do, that'll get the drop on Grandpa, and then I can become Hokage. The attacks sailed forward, hitting each other in the air. The attacks struggled against each other. The two fighters started pouring more and more energy into their orbs of destruction. Soon, Naruto's energy started moving toward Hinata. Hinata started feeling the shockwave of the energy pushing each other. She took a deep breath and forced her energy forward, pushing it closer and closer to Naruto. Naruto started pushing back. The collision of the energy balls was still in the middle. Naruto and Hinata started walking forward, trying to get an advantage on the other. Eventually they were about 5 feet next to each other. The intensity of the shockwaves from the collision blew the two back. They landed farther away from each other. Both of the two fighters were on the ground, close to passing out. Naruto got enough breath to say Hinata, truce. Hinata was about to say hell no. But then her stomach started aching more. She said yeah. Okay. Both of the teens stood up, clothes partly singed and torn. Naruto looked over to where Konohamaru was at and said okay Konohamaru, we know you're out there. Konohamaru came out of the trees and said that was so cool. Naruto chuckled and said yeah, I know. Konohamaru then said can you teach me those attacks? Naruto soon got serious and said no, I can't. Konohamaru then got mad and said why not? Naruto said I can't because you don't have enough energy. It took me and Hinata 6 years of hard work, dedication, sweat, blood, and tears to be able to use these attacks. If I taught these to you, you would only die. Konohamaru looked down in sadness, then looked at Naruto and said then teach me. Put me through the same thing that you two went through. Naruto got a shocked look on his face. He said why would you want that Konohamaru? It's not easy at all. Konohamaru said I will do anything to learn these. All my life, I've been called the honorable grandson, that's the only way people know me. No one knows my name. I don't even have an identity to these people. I want to be my own person. I don't want to only be known as the third Hokage's grandson. I want to be my own person. Naruto looked into Konohamaru's eyes and saw the amount of determination in his eyes. He was originally about to say no, but he caved in and said, you know what, Konohamaru? I'll train you. But first, I want you to promise me something. Konohamaru was about to say sure, anything, but then got a questionable look on his face and said what? Naruto narrowed his eyes at Konohamaru, showing that he was dead serious. He said these jutsu we're gonna teach you, they're only able to be done by us. I want you to swear to me and Hinata on the honor of the Sarutobi clan that you won't tell anyone about this unless we say that you can. Also, I want you to swear that you'll never use these jutsu on a fellow leaf ninja or on a ninja of an allied village unless you have no choice. These jutsu are very dangerous and even the smallest one can seriously damage someone. I don't want you to kill an ally. Konohamaru stood up and then grabbed a kunai. He cut his palm with the kunai, the blood dripping on the ground. He looked at Naruto with eyes full of determination and said on the honor of the Sarutobi clan, I, Konohamaru Sarutobi, hereby swear that I will never use these jutsu on an ally and that I will never tell anyone these secrets unless you or Hinata say I can. Naruto smiled and said okay then, Konohamaru, let's start the teaching. Konohamaru jumped into the air with joy. Naruto said Konohamaru, I want you to sit down. After telling Konohamaru about what chakra is made of and telling him how to extract kai from chakra, Konohamaru took to it like a fish to water. It turned out he had a lot more chakra than other kids his age. After a few hours of trying, Konohamaru could easily fire off small balls of Kai that explode upon impact. Naruto was proud of Konohamaru. He was taking to this quickly, faster than Naruto did. Naruto said, "You're doing great, Konohamaru. Now, I want you to focus more energy into the attack. When you feel that you can't hold it anymore, I want you to shoot it off." Konohamaru did just that. He focused his energy into his palm. It grew more and more until he started feeling heat from the ball. It was as big as his head now. Before it was only the size of a baseball. Konohamaru shot it off at a nearby tree. The attack hit and blew it and other trees around it to smithereens. Hinata whistled and said, "Great job, Konohamaru. You destroyed those trees. It took me an entire week to destroy a single tree." Naruto started smiling and said, "You should feel happy, Konohamaru. When I and Hinata started we didn't have a teacher. Hell, even the Hokage didn't know what we were talking about. We went forward on our own. We took a lot of dead ends that almost killed us. Now you don't have to. Now, how do you feel, Konohamaru?" Konohamaru turned to Naruto and said, "I feel great. I could still go on." Naruto said, "Okay then, this time, I want you to focus Kai in your hand, but this time, instead of releasing it in a ball of energy, release it as a beam. The beam has a more centralized area of damage. Where the Kai ball can blow the skin off of someone's entire torso, the Kai beam can put a hole through their body. Aim the attack at that tree right there." Naruto pointed to his right to some random tree. Konohamaru focused the energy just like Naruto said. He then let the attack go, still feeding energy into it, making it a beam of energy. The beam put a hole through the tree and the other 5 behind it. Naruto whistled and said, "Konohamaru, you're a prodigy at this." Konohamaru said thanks. As Naruto was about to teach him something else, the ninja in black from the Hokage's office came. He said, "Demon, what are you doing to the Hokage's grandson?" Naruto looked at Konohamaru and said, "Konohamaru, who the hell is that?" Konohamaru said, "That's my old teacher Ibisu." Ibisu said, "Hand over the Hokage's grandson, you demon filth." Konohamaru said, "No, Ibisu. You don't even teach me anything. I heard you talking to your friend. You only took the job for the extra money. You're not a teacher. Naruto has taught me more in one day than you have in the entire month of teaching me." Ibisu said, "Konohamaru, what about your dream of becoming Hokage?" "My teaching is the quickest way to become Hokage. It's the quickest shortcut." Naruto said, "Shut up, Ibisu. The kid said he didn't want to go with you. Why don't you try someone more your age, pedophile?" Ibisu smirked and said, "You'll pay for that, you demon." Naruto said, "Oh, really? Try to stop this, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." Instantly, 30 Narutos showed up. Ibisu chuckled and said, "You'll find me harder to defeat than that fool Ibisu." The Naruto smirked and said, "Well then, bring it." Ibisu said gladly. And jumped off the tree he was on. He pulled out 2 kunai and started attacking the clones. At first, Ibisu thought this would be a cakewalk, but then he saw the major difference between his idea and reality. Naruto could fight. The shadow clones were doing a lot of taijutsu moves he originally thought were impossible. They were keeping him back. They were also very quick. He hadn't even dispelled one yet. While Ibisu was being handled by the shadow clones, the original Naruto jumped farther back. He looked at Konohamaru and said, "Take notes, Konohamaru. Soon, this is what you'll be able to do." Naruto bent his knees and focused energy into his palm. The energy orb took a blood-red color. Naruto narrowed his eyes and focused on Ibisu. When he saw that Ibisu was paying no attention to him, he yelled out Demon's Rage. And threw the attack. The attack went forward. It blew up any Kage Bunshin that got in its way. It reached Ibisu and blew up, sending him flying. To where, they didn't know. Probably to hit the Hokage monument. Konohamaru got a confused look on his face and said, "Naruto, why are you able to use them on allies but not me?" Naruto said, "Because, Konohamaru, I'm a master at these jutsu. I know how to drain all the power out of it so it will only send them flying, but it won't do any other damage. You haven't been taught that yet. And until you do, I expect you to keep your vow." Konohamaru said, "Okay then, boss." Naruto was about to ask what was the matter with the boss stuff, but then he got a signal from the rider. The rider wanted to wrap the story up, so Naruto took Konohamaru and Hinata to Ichiraku's and didn't bother to ask about the boss stuff. And, after hanging with Konohamaru, Naruto and Hinata decided to call it a day. Deciding to walk Hinata home, the two arrived at the front gates of the Hyuga compound. Seeing as Naruto was a regular at the compound, the guards let the two pass. Naruto said, "I gotta go get some sleep for tomorrow, Hinata-chan. So, I'll see you tomorrow." Hinata said yeah. Hinata started trying to look anywhere but at Naruto's eyes. She felt something rising in her and felt that if she looked at his eyes, she'd lose it. She already concluded that she had romantic feelings for the warrior in front of her. The problem was that she was too damn scared of the consequences to act on her emotions. For some reason today, seeing him around Konohamaru almost caused her to slip on the small hold she had on her romantic feelings. Eventually, she couldn't stand it anymore. Without thinking of the consequences, she leaned over and kissed Naruto on the lips. When she pulled back, her eyes were widened. What the hell did I just do? Was the thing she was yelling to herself in her mind. Trying to end the moment as quick as possible, she just said a quick bye and turned into her room and shut the door. Standing there with his eyes as big as a deer's eyes caught in headlights, Naruto couldn't move or say anything. He just stayed there with his jaw on the ground. A passing branch family member said so, she finally kissed you, huh Naruto? Naruto immediately turned to who said it. Shut the hell up Neji. Neji said, what's the matter? You've liked her since you were 10. She's loved you since she was 9. I'm surprised it took you guys this long to actually admit it. Naruto said my love life is none of your business. Neji smirked and said love life, huh? It sounds like you two are getting serious. Naruto said mind your own business, Neji. Neji, still smirking, said okay then, Naruto. Just don't make my uncle into a grandpa too soon. And started walking away. Naruto yelled after him Neji. But Neji wasn't listening to him. Naruto muttered wide-eyed bastard under his breath and walked away. Getting in some small training at a training ground, Naruto left to go to his house. The next day, Naruto met Hinata at the training ground. Avoiding the topic for the entire day, Naruto went home. The two were awkward around each other for an entire week. After training for a while, Naruto decided to ask the question that he had been wanting to ask since that night. Hinata, what happened last week? Hinata knew what he was talking about. To be honest, she didn't know why she did that either. It just seemed like the right thing to do. She let her emotions get the better of her. She had been in love with Naruto for over 2 years and she didn't do anything about it. She was tired of holding back her emotions and let them go. Playing like she didn't know, Hinata said, what do you mean? Naruto walked closer to Hinata and said when you kissed me. Why did you do that? Hinata sighed, looked at the ground, not wanting to look into Naruto's eyes. Eventually, she just sucked it up and said because Naruto I guess because I've been wanting to since I met you. When you saved me from that cloud Jounin years ago, I started feeling safe being near you. I guess that after years and years of being by your side, I started falling more and more for you. Last night, my feelings for you became too much to handle and I needed to let them go. I think that's why I kissed you. Looking up into Naruto's eyes, Hinata felt courage go through her body. She mustered up all that she could to say what she was about to next. She gazed into Naruto's eyes and said, the reason I kissed you Naruto is because I think I love you. Throughout Hinata's speech, Naruto's heart started soaring more and more. He always felt the same way about Hinata. But he had trouble showing love for someone because he had never known what true love was. He was an orphan. The only love he got was from the Sandaime, which was a grandfatherly kind, and from Iruka, a brotherly kind. He never had the feeling of falling for another person. But after falling for Hinata when he was 10, he thought to himself that, if falling for someone felt like anything, it was like how he felt for Hinata. And after being around her for so long, the feeling only intensified. From a small flicker to an uncontainable passion that was begging to be released whenever he was around her. He was used to hiding the feeling, but he felt that he couldn't any longer. To be honest, his heart skipped a beat every time he saw her. Just being around her gave him goosebumps of excitement, but he never told her how he felt because he didn't know what it was. He didn't want to tell her it was love and to just have it be something else entirely. But for some reason, Naruto's feelings started rising the more she talked. When she said she thought she loved him, it caused Naruto's control over his feelings to momentarily break. Enough for him to say to her, I love you too, Hinata. Mentally cursing himself over the slip in emotions, Naruto was completely confused as to what to do next. Looking into Hinata's eyes, he let his emotions take control yet again. Doing what he felt was right, Naruto leaned in. Hinata leaned in also. They met in the middle in a quick kiss. But that kiss told them everything they needed to know. Kissing again, this time deeper, the new couple felt complete. Pulling apart, Naruto said Hinata, does this mean that we're a couple now? Hinata looked at Naruto and said depends, do you want to be? Naruto immediately said sure, do you? Hinata said yes. Naruto smiled and said then I guess we're officially a couple now, Hinata. Giving her a small kiss, Naruto said now, let's get back to training. Before they could though, they heard a familiar voice say so, the two weaklings of the class hook up. Looking at where the voice came from, the two snarled when they saw Sasuke standing there. He said I guess everyone can find love, even you too. Naruto groaned and said I was having a good day until you interfered in it Sasuke. What the hell do you want? Sasuke said I want a rematch. Naruto said you say that every time I whoop your ass and every time I win the rematch. When will you learn? Or are you a masochist or something? Sasuke said I said we fight. Now. Naruto said I've beaten your ass what, like 90 times already? Just give up. Sasuke glared at Naruto and started doing hand seals. Naruto huffed and muttered I guess he'll never learn. Sasuke yelled out fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. And shot 10 fireballs at Naruto. Naruto noticed that these were about 1.5 times the regular size of the phoenix flower fireballs. Naruto held his hand out and manipulated his Kai to form a protective dome around him and Hinata. The fireballs hit the dome, but nothing happened. Naruto said, "Is that the best you got?" Sasuke snarled, "Not by a long shot," and activated his Sharingan. He charged at Naruto, going for the forward approach. Naruto, seeing Sasuke do this, shot a Kai blast at Sasuke's feet. Sasuke, by reflex, did a flip over the yellow ball of Kai and turned upright to face Naruto. But Naruto was gone. The only person standing there was Hinata. He demanded of her, "Where did the loser go?" Hinata sighed and said, "You'd think that since you're from the elite Uchiha clan, you'd have some common sense to look behind you when you can't find an opponent." Turning around, Sasuke couldn't see Naruto. As Sasuke was turning back around to face Hinata, he said, "He's not back." He didn't finish his sentence due to Naruto being in his way and punching him in the face. Sasuke was knocked backwards but was able to recover and stand, looking at Naruto with rage-filled eyes. Naruto balled his right hand up into a fist, then extended out the thumb and index finger at a 90-degree angle from each other. He then bent his thumb in a right angle, making it look like he had a fake gun in his hands. He pointed his fake gun at Sasuke, then said, "Bullet shot." A compact amount of Kai flew out the tip of his index finger and smashed Sasuke right in the gut. Sasuke staggered back 5 feet from the blow, not expecting something like that to hurt. Naruto smirked and fired off another weaker shot, aimed at Sasuke's forehead. With his Sharingan, Sasuke saw the attack going for him, but he couldn't move away in time and got hit in the forehead, knocking him on his ass. Naruto started laughing and shot another blast at Sasuke, full power. Sasuke rolled backwards and dodged the attack. Naruto shot yet another one off, but this time didn't fully charge it, knowing that Sasuke would dodge it. Naruto wasn't let down, as Sasuke rolled to the right, dodging the blast. Naruto then started aiming at Sasuke's feet, making Sasuke jump from foot to foot, dodging them. Naruto started laughing since Sasuke looked like he was in some old cartoon. Naruto started shooting off bullet shots with his left hand also, making Sasuke have to move twice as fast and doubling Naruto's entertainment. After getting tired of making Sasuke dance, Naruto charged Sasuke and tried to punch him in the face. Sasuke ducked under the punch and nailed Naruto in the stomach with a punch. Naruto paused because of the pain, but so did Sasuke. Apparently the hit hurt Sasuke as much as it did Naruto. Blocking Sasuke's right fist, Naruto went for a punch, aimed at Sasuke's stomach. The punch connected and Sasuke was knocked back on his ass yet again. Naruto started to mock Sasuke, saying, "Wasn't the Sharingan supposed to make it so that you were never hit? Either you're not used to the Sharingan or those things I heard were extremely exaggerated." "I think it was the latter." Sasuke yelled in rage at Naruto and started attacking him again, landing a kick to Naruto's face, then a punch on the other side. Sasuke jumped in the air and did a 360 heel kick, knocking Naruto to the ground. Naruto quickly stood back up and blocked Sasuke's punch. Naruto dodged Sasuke's second punch, then kicked him in the chest, knocking him back. Sasuke started doing more hand seals, then breathed out a great fireball jutsu. Expecting this, Naruto jumped backwards, then blasted Sasuke through the grand fireball. The blast hit Sasuke in the chest, knocking him back. Before he could do anything else, Naruto had his right foot on Sasuke's chest, with a spirit sword formed on his right arm and pointed at Sasuke's neck. Naruto said, "I guess that's yet another battle you lose, Sasuke." Naruto took his foot from Sasuke's chest and walked away. While he was walking away, he moved his right arm to the front of his body and shortened the blade a little. Just as expected, Sasuke took out a few kunai and threw them at Naruto's retreating form. Hearing the kunai whistle through the air, Naruto extended the blade, turned around, and sliced every one of them in half. Naruto said, "You're way too predictable, Sasuke." Sasuke got even madder and tried another grand fireball jutsu at Naruto. Naruto just quietly activated his transformation, phasing out of the way of the grand fireball. He appeared behind Sasuke and, using his enhanced strength, punched Sasuke in the back of the head, knocking him out. Naruto dropped the transformation and walked over to Hinata. They both then took off, deciding to take their training to another training ground. A few hours later, Sasuke was awakened by someone. This man had an X-shaped scar on his chin. He had gauze wrapped around his head and the right side of his face. It looked like he was missing his right arm. Sasuke said, "Who the hell are you?" The man said, "I am a friend. I saw your conflict with the Uzumaki boy." Sasuke glared. He hated to be reminded of his defeats to Naruto. He said, "What of it?" The man smirked, saying, "I know you have power, Sasuke. I can sense it within you. You want to unlock this power to kill your older brother, Itachi. But you can use the power for far more than that." Sasuke gave the man a questioning look. He said, "Go on." The man said, "I've sensed the power inside you, Sasuke. It completely dwarfs that of the Uzumaki boy. The power you have inside of you can transform you from a man to a god. I can help you realize this. Join me Sasuke and together, we can make not only the Uzumaki boy and Itachi cower at your feet but the entire world as well. Sasuke thought about it. Not only Itachi but Naruto cowering at his feet. More than that, an entire world. He could become a god, more powerful than the Biju. More powerful than anything ever seen in the universe. Sasuke said I'm in. The guy said good. I think this is the beginning of a beautiful partnership. 1 week later, the week after admitting their feelings to each other, Naruto and Hinata arrived at the academy at their class, ready to be put on a genin team. After everyone else came, Iruka said a heartwarming speech that the author won't type in. After the speech, Iruka said anyway, here's the team assignments. Team 7 is Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Kiba Inuzuka. Your jounin instructor will be Kakashi Haddock. Team 8 will be Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburam. Your jounin instructor will be Kurina Yuuhi. Team 10 will be Choji Akimichi, Shikamaru Nara, and Ino Yamanaka. Your jounin instructor will be Asuma Sarutobi. Any questions? Some kid spoke up, saying who were the rookie shinobi and kunoichi of the year. Iruka was about to omit that little piece of information, but with everyone requesting he tell them, he said what the hell. The rookie shinobi of the year is Naruto Uzumaki. The rookie kunoichi of the year is Hinata Hyuga. When they were announced, Naruto and Hinata got a small blush on their faces. They expected to be in the top 5 of each list, but never expected to top it. But not everyone was like them. When their names were announced, it sent all of Sasuke's fangirls into a tirade, led by Sakura. Sakura yelled, "What are you talking about, Iruka? I got the best grades of the girls. And it's so obvious that Sasuke-kun got the title of Shinobi of the Year. What kind of joke are you trying to play?" Iruka glared his eyes at Sakura. He expected something like this to happen. He said, "First of all Sakura, it's Iruka-sensei to you. And second, I have my grade book right here. The entire last semester Sasuke Uchiha, Test 1, 78, Test 2, 71, Test 8, 54 need I go on? This entire last semester, Sasuke's highest grade on a test was an 80. Sakura Haruno your highest grade of the last semester is a 72. Whereas Naruto and Hinata have both gotten perfect scores on at least 8 of the last 20 tests of the semester. Based on these grades, it's not that hard to understand why they're the best of the class. You and Sasuke graduated the 7th and 8th best in class. I've known people like Sasuke all my life. Sasuke expected that his family name would convince me to change his grades to the best of the class. I'm not biased like that and I'm not gonna let Sasuke worm his way out of a grade he deserves. Sasuke did 70% work, so he got a 70% average score. That's the end of it." Sakura and Sasuke were pissed. How dare those two losers try to take their positions as the best. They were destined to have the spots of best shinobi and kunoichi, not those two losers. Sasuke would have went to the council and demanded they change the scores, but the year was already over. There was nothing he could do. He just decided on silently brooding. Iruka said, "Now if there's no other questions, you are dismissed. Come back here in 1 hour to meet your senseis." Iruka then left the room in a shunshin. Hinata and Naruto were about to leave, but they were confronted by Sakura. Sakura yelled, "Where the hell do you two think you're going? I know that you cheated on those tests. There's no way you two dumbasses could score higher than me and my Sasuke-kun." Sasuke would have been there joining her, but his business partner said to keep a low profile for the moment. Hinata said, "Sakura, shut the hell up. You lost, fair and square. Get over it. You're acting like a psycho bitch." Naruto muttered, "Is that any different from the way she usually acts?" Sakura was about to continue her tirade, but Hinata and Naruto just walked past her completely, ignoring her screams. As they passed Ino stopped them. Hinata was thinking, oh god, more of this Sasuke-kun this and Sasuke-kun that. Ino surprised them both by saying congratulations. "You two deserve the titles." The couple were so surprised, they almost fell over. Naruto said, "Say that again." Ino said, "I said congratulations. I saw you two training one day. You two worked your asses off to get that title, and you two deserved it." Naruto said, "I would have thought you would have started screaming your head off like Sakura there." Ino chuckled and said, "I would, but since we graduated, daddy opened my eyes to a lot of things. Mainly how far I've slacked in my training and how much of a bitch I've been to everybody since Sasuke came into my life. I just want to say that I'm sorry for how I've been acting these past few years. I just want to start over with a clean slate." Naruto gave Ino a genuine smile and said, "Don't worry Ino. It's all water under the bridge." Ino smiled and said thanks. And left the room. An hour later, a woman came through the door and said, "I'm Kurina Yuuhi. I'm here for teammate." Hinata, Naruto, and Shino all got up and left the room. They followed Kurenai to a local tea shop and decided to order tea. As they were waiting for their tea, Kurenai said, "Okay guys, I think it's time that we introduced ourselves. I'll go first. My name is Kurina Yuuhi. I usually spend my time gardening, drinking tea, reading, and researching new genjutsu. Some things that piss me off are perverts, people who take my help and advice for granted, and ignorant and cruel people. My dreams for now are helping you guys become the best ninja you can be. How about you start Shino? Shino said, my name is Shino Aburam. My hobbies are training my bug colony, researching things on new insects, and reading. Things that irritate me are ignorant people and people who talk too much. My dream for the future is taking over as the Aburam clan head after my father. Kurenai said, that's a wonderful dream, Shino. How about you go next, Hinata-san? Hinata said, my name is Hinata Hyuga. My hobbies include training my gentle fist jutsu, cooking, and spending time with my boyfriend, Naruto. My dislikes are the elders on the Hyuga clan council, the ignorant people of the village, people who use others to get what they want, and others who can't realize that they aren't the center of the universe. My dream is taking over as the Hyuga clan head and abolishing the caged bird seal. Kurenai silently nodded and said, how about you, Naruto? Naruto said, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. My hobbies include training my abilities, hanging with my girlfriend, Hinata, and putting Sasuke Uchiha in his place. My dislikes are Sasuke Uchiha, his Banshee fangirl Sakura Haruno, Danzo from the Konoha Council, the ignorant people of the village, and traitors. My dream for the future is to become Hokage and protect those I love. Kurenai said, that's a wonderful dream, Naruto. Now, after you guys finish your tea, I want you to go home and get some good rest. We are going to have a test tomorrow to see if you guys are able to actually become genin. The test you took in the academy was just a preliminary test. The final test will be tomorrow. Kurenai and the others finished up their tea and decided to leave. As they left, Naruto felt something build up in his chest. He told the others to go on without him, and he decided to go to another training ground. When he arrived, he crossed his legs, closed his eyes, and started to meditate. As he was meditating, he felt a familiar pull and gave in to it. He opened his eyes to see that he was in water. He stood up and turned to the huge gate. He said, alright. I've told you before about that furball. Stop it. The Kyuubi rose up from his cell, saying, watch what you call me, brat. I could still devour your tiny brain even though I'm behind this seal. Naruto smirked. He said, no, you can't. This seal is a masterpiece. Even with all your power, you wouldn't be able to get out of this. The Kyuubi said, you'll be surprised what I can do, little boy. For instance, when the great 10-tailed demon was split into 9 parts, I got most of his power, allowing me to become king of demons. This seal that your bastard father put in place drains my demonic energy but doesn't make it into human chakra. I can manipulate what you take from me and use it to destroy your mind and release myself. Naruto said, you forgot to factor in one small part to that equation. I meditate regularly. I increase my mental defenses a lot faster than this seal drains your energy. By the time this seal drains enough of your energy to break through those shields, you'll be too weak to do anything about it except lie down and wait for your execution. The Kyuubi said, that's what you think. I might not have my body anymore, but I can still control my power enough to defeat you. Naruto said, you can control your power, but it will never even be able to hurt me. My father made sure of that. The Kyuubi snarled at Naruto. He said, you're just like that whore of a mother of yours. You always think you know everything. Naruto's eyes narrowed quickly. He transformed into his golden-haired state and fired a huge blast of energy at the Kyuubi. It hit the Kyuubi in the head, knocking him back and making him fall on his back. The attack didn't have enough power to do permanent damage, but it hurt like a bitch. Naruto's eyes were bluish-green. But as Naruto glared at the Kyuubi, his eyes started turning more into a mixture of red and bluish-green. And the longer Naruto stared at the Kyuubi, the stronger the red got until his eyes looked partly purple. Naruto said in a distorted voice, don't you ever talk about my mother like that. The Kyuubi started laughing. He said, I knew it. I knew you couldn't keep a hold of it. Soon that power will start to take over Naruto. You'll start to crave the power, then you'll turn into the thing your father never wanted you to be. You'll turn into me. Ha ha ha. Naruto's eyes widened. He looked into the water to see that his eyes started turning red. At first, his eye color was a mixture of bluish-green and red. But the red started taking over. Naruto closed his eyes and started calming himself down. Eventually, the red color receded. He turned to the Kyuubi and said in a lower voice, I'll never turn into you. That, you can bet on. Naruto then got out of his head to leave the Kyuubi in solitude. As he pulled out of his mind, he started breathing heavily. Naruto thought to himself, maybe I'm not as safe as I thought. I need to control my anger or this furry bastard will take over completely. Naruto then met back up with Hinata at her house and started training with her. As they were in the middle of training, Neji came out the back. He said, Hinata, some girl is here to see you. She claims to be from your academy class. Naruto and Hinata went to the door to see who it was. It was Ino. Hinata was puzzled. Why would Ino want to see her? Ino said, Hinata, Naruto, I need your help. Naruto said, with what? Ino said, I need to become a better ninja. I told you guys earlier that daddy opened my eyes to a lot of things. They weren't just about my crush on Sasuke. He made me realize that if I didn't start training, I wouldn't last a year in the ninja business. Naruto said, just what the hell did he do that could have made you think over your life this much? Ino said he went to the ninja record center in the Hokage Tower and got me some files on other Kunoichi. Kunoichi who became Kunoichi all because of a guy like I did. None of them made it past their first 5 months. They were either sold as sex slaves and never seen again, or they were raped and killed. Daddy said that if I didn't start training, not only would he pull me permanently from the ninja program, but he'll disown me. I need your help. You two train so much. Please, is there any way you can help me? Naruto turned to Hinata and raised his eyebrow. Hinata gave him a small nod. They turned back to Ino and Hinata said, fine then. You can train with us. Naruto said, before you start jumping for joy, you need to know. We will train you into the ground. We've been training since we were 6 years old, Ino. You've barely trained at all. We're gonna have to work really hard to get you back in the shape you need to be in. Ino said, okay then. I'll do anything. I want to make up for my mistakes these years. Naruto said, we'll start tomorrow at 3 p.m. For now, get some rest, you're gonna need it. Ino left, ecstatic that they decided to help her. Naruto said, you think we did the right thing? Hinata started chuckling and said yes. Naruto said, she's gonna damn near die trying to keep up with us. Hinata said, it'll do her some good. She's been neglecting her training for a while and we need to kick her back into shape. Naruto said, if you say so. But Sasuke was at a dark place. He was with Danzo and training. Danzo had been training him in jutsu that the village wouldn't approve of Sasuke knowing. When the time comes, you will need these jutsu. Remember that Sasuke-kun. Sasuke had used his Sharingan to learn the moves quickly and had been practicing them since. Sasuke had also been given an adachi by Danzo to learn how to use. Overseeing his training, Danzo was happy. Sasuke's power had the potential to bring the entire planet to their knees. Sasuke would be their leader and Danzo would be Sasuke's leader. Sasuke would be a mindless husk waiting for Danzo's orders like a trained dog. But Ino was by no means an idiot. Well, she was before when she was chasing Sasuke, but now her eyes had been opened. She realized that she had been stupid and had been trying to break out of the weak stupid blonde stereotype that she forced herself into. Her dad opening her eyes was not good. What she told Hinata and Naruto was actually a lie. Her dad didn't show her files, but memories. Her dad, Inoichi Yamanaka, worked at the torture and interrogation department. He sometimes had to delve into the minds of people to get information. Along the lines, he ran into rape victims and wife beaters. He still had their memories locked into his head. When he saw how Ino was acting, he decided to show her. He showed her the memories of a woman named Katrina Ramanji. Katrina was hopelessly in love with a Yondaime Hokage since she was a kid. She became a shinobi to get closer to him, but she wasn't put on his team. Her team went on a C-ranked mission and she was kidnapped. She was sold into slavery and wasn't seen for 10 years. Eventually, it was the Yondaime who saved her from slavery, but she was almost dead. Inoichi had to enter her mind to help her get over the traumatic years she had. Another memory was of Yugaka Uchiha. He was fawned over by many women. He married one of his fangirls, named Rukia Garachi. Rukia was raped constantly by him and he frequently beat her. He put Jinjutsu over her to bury her memories of the events. She said her beatings were her being clumsy and getting hit by pans or falling down the stairs. She said that the sex was consensual. When he publicly beat her, Yugaka was arrested. Inoichi delved into his mind and saw all the times he beat and raped her. He decided to show his daughter those memories. When it was done, she was hunched over and crying her eyes out. Inoichi yelled at her, did you see that? That'll be your future if you don't get your act together. I've been going too easy on you, Ino. If you don't change your ways, I will ask the Hokage to permanently ban you from the ninja program and I will disown you. When he said that, Ino knew that she had to get her act together. She just thanked Kami that Naruto decided to help her. She saw that Hinata only helped her because Hinata loved Naruto. Hinata didn't completely forgive her. When she looked Naruto in his eyes, she saw that he completely forgave her. She didn't doubt that for a second. After everything that she did to him, he forgave her in a second. He even said he would take time out of his day to help her get over her problems. She felt that no matter what she did, she would never be able to repay him. Ino decided to stop thinking about that and got back to training. But Naruto was at home meditating. Since he first met the Kyuubi, he realized that there was a pain in his chest. When he checked it out, he found out that it was demonic chakra. He thought that it was the Kyuubi's, but when he studied it further, he found out something else. The demonic chakra had the same feeling as his own chakra. The feeling of chakra is how you can distinguish it from other people's chakra. It was a different color than his own chakra, but it had the same feeling. That was his own chakra. Somehow, his body makes demonic chakra. The discovery was so traumatic that Naruto started meditating to suppress the demonic chakra. At first, he thought that the transformation was coming from it. But then he felt that the transformation had nothing to do with the demonic chakra, so he kept using the transformation. But he didn't tell anyone about the demonic chakra. Not even Hinata or the third Hokage. Naruto kept the demonic chakra his dirty little secret. He loved the Hokage like a grandfather, and he was in love with Hinata. They didn't have a problem with him housing a demon, but becoming one. Naruto didn't know what their reactions would be, but he wouldn't have to find out. He would never tell them. Naruto woke up earlier the next day to get in some last-minute training before Kurenai's test. He had a lot of steam to work off after meeting the Kyuubi the night before. Somehow, the Kyuubi always found a way to piss Naruto off. Whether it was causing him stomach pains, giving him nightmares, or talking about his mom, the Kyuubi was a master at pissing Naruto off. He needed to take off his stress before it started to affect his fighting. A couple minutes into training, he was joined by Shino. Shino never actually said much, but he was a good listener and sort of a psychiatrist to his friends. They would come to him with their problems, and he would help them work through it. Actually, it was Shino that Naruto went to about the demonic chakra. He didn't actually mention that his body produced demonic chakra, but he said that he felt something weird in his body, like another chakra source. Shino told him about how the feeling of chakra is unique to individuals, which helped Naruto realize that his body made demonic chakra. Also, using that same advice, he realized that his transformation didn't actually have anything to do with his demonic chakra. Ever since, Shino has been a reliable friend for Naruto and Hinata. The fact that he trusted Shino made being on a team with him easier. He thought that it would be better to team with Shino and Hinata than two people he didn't trust like Sakura and Sasuke. Shino joined in on Naruto's training, learning the same fighting style that Naruto used. When Naruto originally asked him about it, Shino said, "It seems logical to make myself a jack of all trades. In case my Kikai bugs are deemed useless in some way, Taijutsu seems like a good fallback plan." When Hinata joined in, they decided to start a three-way sparring session. They didn't use any weapons, ninjutsu, or strong attacks. It was just a friendly spar, and they still had a test to take later, so they couldn't afford to injure one another. While they were training, Kurenai walked to the training ground. She said, "That is the type of determination that I'm looking for in my students. You all arrived here early to get in some training. You have no idea how many genin don't train." Hinata said, "Trust us, Kurenai-sensei, we do." Kurenai chuckled at Hinata's comment and said, "Anyway, we have something to do here. I have to give you all a test. This test has a 66% fail rate. Of the 9 teams that graduated from the academy yesterday, only 3 of those teams will go on to become genin." Hinata said, "Okay then, what's the test?" Kurenai said, "I have 2 bells. Your objective is to take the bells from me before 8:45 am. It's 8 am now, so you only have 45 minutes. Whoever doesn't have a bell will go back to the academy. Begin." The 3 genin immediately disappeared from sight. In the tree lines, they all met together. Shino said, "I find it highly illogical that they would split up a 3-man cell like that. I believe that there's an ulterior motive to this test." Hinata said, "There must be. But what is it?" Naruto continued Hinata's thoughts. "They can't possibly expect a single genin to take on a jounin and take something from them, can they?" Shino's eyebrows rose and he said, "They don't. I think the objective of this test is to work together. 1 genin can't defeat a jounin, but 3 working together might." Naruto said, "That seems right. So now, let's make a plan." 30 minutes later, Kurenai was still sitting in the middle of the clearing, waiting for her team to try and attack her. All of a sudden, she heard a sound behind her. After years of experience, she recognized the sound to be shuriken flying through the air. She jumped forward, narrowly avoiding the blades. Before she could collect herself, she had to dodge another volley of kunai. Looking to where they came from, she didn't expect to be blasted from behind. Turning to the source of the Kai blast, Kurenai saw Naruto there smirking. He made guns with his hands, then focused Kai into the tips of his fingers. He yelled out, "Bullet shot." Naruto then shot off bullet after bullet of Kai at Kurenai. Kurenai rolled on the ground to dodge the blasts, but wasn't expecting a blast to hit her in the side. Kurenai quickly jumped to her feet, only to hear a cry of "Spirit shot." Looking to her left, she narrowly avoided the black orb. When she looked at where the attack came from, there stood Naruto and Hinata. Kurenai said, "So you two decided to work together?" Naruto said, "As if I'd go on with my dream without my girlfriend by my side." Kurenai said, "And what about Shino? You're just gonna leave him to repeat the academy?" Hinata said, "Now what gives you that idea?" This was Shino's plan. Kurenai's eyes widened. "What did you say?" Naruto said, "Shino volunteered to repeat the academy so that we can further our own ninja careers." Kurenai angrily said, "And you accepted?" Hinata said, "Why wouldn't we? We get to stay together. Besides, we work better as a duo, not a trio." Kurenai was in disbelief. She always knew Hinata as a kind-hearted person. How could she just accept a friend repeating the academy and holding off on their dreams so that she can stay with her boyfriend? Kurenai blew her top. How dare you do that to Shino? He's your friend. He has been by your side for months and you accept him putting his career on hold just so you and this idiot here can play grab ass. I thought you were truly his friend. After hearing Kurenai's tirade, Hinata started smiling a little and narrowing her eyes, looking like she was trying her hardest not to laugh. After a few seconds, she couldn't hold it in anymore. Hinata started rolling on the ground laughing. Kurenai's anger was replaced with surprise at Hinata's actions. She said, what are you laughing about? This is serious. You're gonna let Shino repeat the academy so that you can be with your boyfriend. Hinata said, like I said before, this entire thing was a plan by Shino. Kurenai quizzically said, what are you talking about? Naruto said this was Shino's plan. We all decided to work together to fight. Pass or fail, we'll do it as a team. We fought you so that Shino's Kikai bugs could get all over your body. We had to keep you talking so that you wouldn't notice them draining your chakra. Now that you're low on chakra, your ninjutsu and genjutsu are useless now. Kurenai smiled a little at Naruto's statement. So they realized the true reason of the test. Now all they had to do was either take the bells or last until the time limit. Kurenai slipped into a genjutsu stance and said, I still have to jutsu. Shino walked from out of the tree line to stand beside Naruto and Hinata. He said not to be cocky, but it's very cocky-illogical to think that you can defeat all three of us in Taijutsu alone. Kurenai said, I think I can handle myself fine. Kurenai charged a 3 genin, which turned out to be a wrong move. Naruto charged forward, making his 2 team members wait behind him. Naruto ran forward with his arm drawn back, ready to punch Kurenai's lights out. Right before he reached her though, Hinata cried out heaven's wrath. Naruto took that as his cue to take to the skies. He flew up, missing the attack by centimeters. The attack hit Kurenai in the chest, knocking her backwards. Naruto smirked in the air. The old feint and blast. Gets them every time. Naruto dropped to the ground, being right behind Shino and Hinata as they charged Kurenai. Hinata opened up with a gentle fist palm to the stomach, which Kurenai avoided. Shino went down for a sweep, which Kurenai dodged. Naruto jumped off of Shino's back and twisted, adding a lot more force to his heel kick to Kurenai's cheek. Hinata quickly went over to Kurenai but couldn't get a good hit on her. When she cried out for help, Shino answered her call. While those two were keeping Kurenai busy, Naruto activated his transformation and dashed past them, quickly snatching the bells just as the bell rang. Naruto quickly showed Kurenai that he had the bells, astounding her. She said, how did you get them that quick? Naruto said, I have my ways. Kurenai said, so now, what will you do with them? Naruto said this test was all about teamwork. It was to see if we would be able to put our differences aside for the good of the mission. So, I choose to give the bells to Hinata and Shino. Hinata said, I won't accept it. You deserve this bell a lot more than I do. Shino said, I will not accept this bell either. Like Naruto said, pass or fail, we will do so as a team. Since one of us has to fall, we all will. Kurenai said, wow, you guys are the most grown-up 12-year-olds I have ever met. Most would only look out for themselves. Naruto said, it just goes to show you to never underestimate us because of our age. So sensei, do we pass or fail? Kurenai said, you pass. Meet me here tomorrow and we can hopefully start missions. Shino said, what do you mean by hopefully? We have just passed your test, Kurenai sensei, haven't we? Kurenai said, yes you have. And you all passed with flying colors. But I have to meet with the Hokage and talk to him about the team. And I have to talk to the other Jounin and plan things with them, like joint training days or spars, just some small stuff. Don't worry, most likely we'll be doing missions. The 3 genin nodded at their new sensei's instructions. They stayed at the training ground for the rest of the day, practicing and honing their abilities. While they were training, Kurenai went to the Hokage's office at noon to attend the Jounin sensei meeting. When she got there, it was the time for the meeting to start, but like always, Kakashi Haddock was holding the meeting back because he hadn't arrived yet. So for 2 hours, Kurenai was stuck listening to the Jounin grapevine. The topic was mostly her student Naruto. Sadly, this didn't surprise Kurenai at all. She had been a Jounin for 2 months, and the only thing they ever talked about was Kyuubi brat this or demon boy that. It seemed like they could never shut up about Naruto. But with Naruto showing his true abilities in his fight with Sasuke a couple weeks earlier, it seemed that the discussions had gone completely out of hand. It scared many of the Jounin because they feared that Naruto was the Kyuubi reincarnated and that he would use that powerful transformation and new abilities to kill them. Others believed themselves too strong to be bested by what looked like a fancy henge and fake moves. Kurenai didn't form an opinion from what she heard on the grapevine. She knew that you could never actually trust the grapevine to accurately deliver news. So she decided to hold judgment until she met him firsthand. And now, after fighting him, she knew that those special attacks of his and Hinata's were anything but fake. At 2 o'clock, Kakashi walked into the room. The Hokage said, well, thanks for coming Kakashi, 2 hours late. Kakashi said I'm sorry Hokage-sama, but I got lost on the road of life. Sarutobi said Kakashi, if we weren't low on ninja right now, I would drive a kunai through your head. If you are ever late to a meeting with me again, I will do just that, shinobi forces be damned. Kakashi visibly paled and said yes Hokage-sama. The Hokage said okay then, now that Kakashi is here, let's get this mission started. In order of team number, state whether they passed or fail. A random jounin stepped forward and said Team 1, fail. Team 2, pass. Team 3, pass. Team 4, pass. Team 5, fail. Team 6, fail. Kakashi stepped forward with pride and said Team 7, pass. Kurenai stepped forward and said Team 8, pass. The jounin of Team 1 hopped up and said there's no way that team passed. Team 5 sensei stepped up and said yeah, they had the failure of a Hyuga heiress, and that Abiram. Team 6's sensei also stepped up and said not to mention that the jounin of Team 6 was rudely interrupted by a kunai going through his skull, courtesy of the Sandaime Hokage. He said moving on. Asuma, how did Team 10 do? Asuma Sarutobi, son of the Sandaime Hokage, stepped up and said Team 10 passed dad. Sarutobi sighed. He said it looks like we have 18 new ninja that passed their tests. Kakashi said, but there's only enough in the budget to support 9. What do we do? Sarutobi said simple, team battles to see exactly who will go on. Kurenai said if I may interject Hokage-sama, how will we choose? If you let the genin hopefuls choose, they'll all go after who they think is the weakest. Asuma said, and if you let the jounin choose, they will go after who they are most biased against, mainly Kurenai's team. Sarutobi said I know, and to be honest, I don't think that I can accurately match up the teams either. Kakashi said why not Hokage-sama? Kurenai answered Kakashi's question. Because there's a chance he could arrange them to be biased towards Naruto. Sarutobi said correct Kurenai-san. Which is why who they choose shall be at random. Jounin sensei of the failed teams, you all can leave. And call in the Anbu cleanup unit to take this body away, it's starting to stink up my office. The jounin bowed, said yes, Hokage-sama, and left. Seconds later, the Anbu appeared in the room and took the body and cleaned up the mess, making it look like no one died in the Hokage's office. Sarutobi said now where was I? Oh yeah, you all will be choosing randomly. Now, draw straws. Shortest goes first. Sarutobi pulled out 6 straws from his desk, one of which was shorter than the other 5. The 6 jounin remaining came forward and pulled a straw. Asuma pulled the shortest one, so Sarutobi said fist up, Asuma. Asuma stepped up to the front of the jounin and said what do I do, dad? Sarutobi pulled out his brush and 6 pieces of paper. He then wrote the names of the remaining 6 jounin on the slips. He said you all will throw kunai at the name slips. I will attach them to the wall and you will throw kunai at them. Whatever name it lands on, that's whose team yours is must fight tomorrow at noon in the amphitheater. After each kunai toss, I will change the order the names are in so that you can't just memorize their positions. First up, Asuma. Now use your hit I-8 to blindfold yourself. Asuma pulled his hit I-8 down over his eyes, blocking his sight. Sarutobi quickly attached the names onto his wall, telling Asuma to throw the kunai. Asuma threw the kunai and it landed on Satoshi Haruka, the name of Team 2's jounin. Asuma said it seems like my team is fighting yours in the tournament tomorrow Satoshi. Satoshi walked up to Asuma and shook his hand, saying best team tomorrow wins. Sarutobi said okay then, draw again. The remaining 4 jounin drew straws and the winner was Kimiko Toho, the female jounin leader of Team 3. She blindfolded herself with her headband and pulled out a kunai, ready to throw. After switching up the order of the names, Sarutobi gave Kimiko the order to throw. Kimiko threw and hit the name Ramundo Himura, the jounin leader of Team 4. Seeing who was left, Sarutobi sighed. It seems that it was fate that those two would fight again. I just hope that Naruto can stay safe again without killing the Uchiha. Sarutobi said it seems that teams 10 and 2, 3 and 4, and 7 and 8 shall fight each other. The 3 teams that win shall become genin. The other 3 shall repeat the academy. Kakashi said are you sure about this Hokage-sama? Kurenai-sen's team has Naruto Uzumaki and mine has Sasuke Uchiha. Both of them have abilities that would be valuable to the village's safety. Sarutobi said I know Kakashi and if I had it my way, they both would be in the shinobi corps. But I can't change the rules for anyone. The shinobi world is cutthroat and one of those 2 will not make it. I'm sorry, but that's the way it will be. Kakashi said I understand Hokage-sama. I just hope that this decision doesn't come back to bite us all in the ass. Sarutobi said so do I Kakashi. Anyway, you all are dismissed. The 6 jounin disappeared in puffs of smoke, leaving Sarutobi in the room alone. Kurenai puffed to her training ground, hoping to start from there and find her team. Luckily for her, they were all still there training. Kurenai said teammate, come here. The genin quickly dropped what they were doing and rushed over to Kurenai. They all stood in a line in front of her, waiting for her to give them instructions. Kurenai said there's been a small problem with your graduations. You remember how I said that only 3 of the 9 teams shall go on to become shinobi? At their nods, Kurenai continued. Well, 6 teams passed their tests. Teams 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 and 10. That means that 3 teams must be weeded out. The Hokage told us to report to the Konoha amphitheater at noon tomorrow. Teams 3 and 4 will fight, teams 10 and 2 will fight, and we are left to. Naruto interrupted Kurenai, saying spank the Uchiha's ass. You can count on me being there. Hinata quickly smacked him across the back of his head, saying shut up. Kurenai said well, I wouldn't have said it that way, but Naruto is right. We're left to fight Team 7. If I were you guys, I would try to come up with a battle strategy with what we know about those 3. Shino said Team 7 consists of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Kiba Inuzuka. Sakura is academically in the top third of our graduating class. She knows the information from the school's textbooks, but she has poor study skills, which reflected in her test scores. Hinata said, but Sakura hardly ever trains. I remember asking her to train with me one day, she said but I'll sweat and ran away. Naruto said yeah, these are team battles, which would mostly mean physical abilities. That's something that she doesn't have at all and that Hinata-chan has in spades. Hinata said I can take care of Sakura, no problem. All I have to do is start fighting her, then point behind her and say is that Sasuke undressing? She'll turn around and I can nail her in her back easily. Kurenai said Hinata, don't disrespect your fellow genin like that. Well Kurenai said that, it was easy to tell that she was holding in her laughter. Shino said despite your rude. Hinata interjected but true. Shino continued comments, Sakura can be easily handled by Hinata. You guys agree? When they both agreed, Shino said next up is Kiba. Kiba is one of the fastest of our graduating class. The Inuzuka clan is known for their attacks in conjunction with their animal partners, but I don't believe that Kiba has achieved this with Akamaru. Hinata said yeah, but Kiba is completely hormone-driven. Naruto said he leaps before he looks and he's overconfident as hell. Shino, you can easily beat him by making it a game of wits. Shino said I don't like entering games like that with unarmed opponents. Naruto muttered like I haven't heard that 100 times. Naruto spoke up, but still, you can easily take him out. Shino said agreed. So I'll take Kiba. Naruto said which leaves me with Sasuke. Shino said we know that Sasuke has activated his Sharingan, but with that transformation, Naruto is quick enough to evade it. The transformation also increases Naruto's abilities by a lot, so much so that they completely dwarf those of Sasuke's. Naruto, can you enter that transformation whenever you want? Naruto said hell yeah. Team 7 is as good as dead. Shino said not necessarily. It has been a while since Sasuke found that transformation of his own. He might have found out how to activate it at a moment's notice like you. Naruto said no way. When I first found it out, it took me months of practice to enter it again. Then it took me even longer to enter it at will. I practically spat on everything Sasuke holds dear. Hinata interjected again practically. You pissed all over it. Naruto said ignoring that. I had to piss on everything that Sasuke held dear to get him to go into that transformation. Like mine, it must have been activated by a lot of rage. It'll take him a long time to master a form like that. A lot more than just a few weeks. Shino said regardless, we should be prepared for any eventuality. If he does enter it, I noticed that it increases his speed, but not as much as your ability. Also, I noticed that after the battle, Sasuke looked to be in pain for a week. Naruto said when I first entered the transformation, it put a huge strain on my body. His transformation will probably do the same to him. After entering it for so long though, my body is used to the strain. Hinata said so maybe you can just outlast him. Eventually, the pain from the transformation will knock him out. You have more stamina and control than him. Shino said precisely my idea. With him being inexperienced with his powers, you have a clear advantage. As long as you stay out of his reach and don't get hit, you will win. Naruto said oh yeah, Team 7 is toast. Next day, after quick morning exercises, Team 8 went to the amphitheater to compete. On the way there, they heard people whispering about the fights. The fights were supposed to occur discreetly, but it seemed that many of the jounin couldn't keep their mouths shut. The more they walked, the more apparent it became that everyone in town knew about their battles. And today, it seemed that the amphitheater would be packed. They heard people making bets on the matches, with Team 7 unsurprisingly being the favorite. They didn't hear a single vote for Team 8. Hearing the people, Naruto thought oh, so the fact that me and Hinata-chan are rookie shinobi and Kunoichi of the year hasn't made it to the streets yet, but our fight with Team 7 is known within the hour. That's Konohagakure no Sato for you. Only hears what it wants to. On the way, they saw a perfectly square boulder. The 3 spotted it but paid the brick no attention. All of a sudden, the brick started to move with them. Shino noticed it but still didn't say anything. Naruto noticed it and knew who it was, but he decided to just ignore it. After a while though, the constant shuffling and piss-poor stealth skills started to piss him off. He turned to the boulder and said you can come out now, Konohamaru. There's no holes in boulders and none of them are perfectly square. Inside the boulder, Konohamaru muttered damn it and came out from under it. He said hey boss, can you help me with my training? I'm trying to make my energy beams wider, but I keep making them the same way. Naruto said I can't Konohamaru, I'm busy. Konohamaru said doing what? Naruto said haven't you heard? Me and my team have to fight Sakura, Kiba, and Sasuke today to become Genin. Konohamaru said can you teach me later then? Naruto said if me and my team aren't doing anything, yeah. Konohamaru said cool. I'll try to train some before you teach me. With that, Konohamaru ran to a training ground. Naruto said that kid is a handful. Hinata said he sort of reminds me of a black-haired, black-eyed person I know. Naruto smirked and said Hinata-chan, I think you left out drop dead sexy in your description. Hinata got into a thinking pose and said now that you mention it, Sasuke is drop dead sexy. Naruto's eyes widened and he yelled what? Hinata started giggling at his face. Hinata said I'm just messing around. I was talking about you. Naruto said oh, and deflated. Seeing this, Shino said Hinata, you forgot to say stupid as hell. Naruto mock laughed and said funny Shino. Now can we cut out Shino's weak attempts at making a joke and get to our fight? I got a lot of things to do today which don't involve losing my job before I even get it. The trio quickly arrived at the amphitheater to see that the theater was already packed. Naruto looked around the stands and saw the cage's booth with the Sandame sitting there. Naruto waved at the Sandame, who made a hand motion at Naruto to come up there. Naruto quickly ran to the stairs and arrived at the cage's booth. The Hokage quickly dismissed his guards to talk to Naruto privately. The Sandame said Naruto, what do you intend to do about Sasuke? Naruto said what do you mean? I got this in the bag. The Sandame said are you so sure about that? You've become a lot more powerful these past few weeks, how do you know he hasn't also? Naruto said he hasn't gained enough power to match me. Sarutobi sighed and said you know that cockiness will get you killed Naruto. Naruto said well, to quote here is in Sarutobi it's only cockiness when you can't back it up. When I transform, it increases my speed and reflexes by a lot. By the time he does the hand seals for any jutsu, I would have seen it and avoided it. That transformation of his makes him too slow to beat me. Sarutobi said for your sake Naruto, I hope you're right. Naruto said is that all you wanted to say? Sarutobi said there's something else. Watch out today. There's a lot of money on Sasuke to win. Some of the more desperate people would do anything for that money, even sabotage you and your team. Naruto said I'll watch out you old geezer. Sarutobi said I hope you win Naruto. I have a lot of money riding on you. Naruto smirked and said gambling, Sarutobi. What would the village say, seeing their fearless leader gambling on a child's fight? Sarutobi said they won't say anything if they know what's good for them. Now get down there and kick some ass. Naruto mock saluted the Sandame and said will do, geezer-sama. Naruto ran down to the field and rejoined with his team, passing on Sarutobi's warning. After a few more minutes, they started. The proctor of the exam, a guy wearing regular jounin attire with a bandana and a toothpick in his mouth came down. The proctor then started speaking, projecting his voice so the entire amphitheater could hear him. My name is Genma Shiranui and I am the proctor of the tournament. Before you now, you see 18 genin. Each genin has passed the test their jounin instructor has given them, but only 3 genin teams can move on to become true genin of Konohagakure no Seido. Today, these teams will face each other in previously selected randomly chosen matches. Genma then turned his attention to the genin. He said I will now call up the first 2 teams. If your team isn't called, you must go to the waiting area to wait for your battle. Genma started projecting his voice again. Now, Team 2 consisting of Rukia Kichiki, Ichigo Kurosaki, and Sato Yasutora. Your battle today is with Team 10, consisting of Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akimichi. The other teams must report to the waiting area for their match. The other teams quickly made their way to the waiting area. Genma said Team 2, are you ready? Rukia, the spokesperson for her team, said yes sir. Genma turned to Team 10 and said Team 10, ready? Shikamaru lazily said yeah. Genma then yelled Hajime. And jumped on the wall, making his way to the Hokage's booth to avoid the fighting. While teams 2 and 10 were fighting each other for their jobs, there was another smaller fight going on in the waiting room. Sasuke walked over to teammates area and said, you better enjoy this loser. This is the closest you'll get to becoming a genin. Naruto said what makes you think that? Sasuke smirked and said simple, your team's match is with me and my team. And I don't plan on losing today. Naruto said what a coincidence, neither do I. So one of us has to change our plans. I hope you factor being carried out of here on a stretcher into them. Sasuke gave Naruto an evil look and said only if you factor in being carried out in a body bag. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Sasuke and said is that supposed to be a threat? Sasuke said more of a promise. I told you before that you would pay for mocking the Uchiha name. Now we've come full circle. Naruto said and I told you that if you use deadly force on me, I'd kill you. Sasuke smirked and said so this means that one of us isn't leaving this arena. Maybe if I feel like it, I'll put some flowers on your grave. Naruto said, and I'll piss all over yours. You haven't beaten me before, you certainly won't do it now. Sasuke said there's a first time for everything. Sasuke then whispered to Naruto so that only Naruto could hear even a demon has to die sometime. Sasuke then turned around and left, a big smirk on his face. Naruto was too surprised to react to it. Hinata came forward and said what's the matter, Naruto-kun? What did he say? Naruto turned to Hinata and said he knows about the Kyuubi. Hinata gasped and said but how? No one is supposed to tell. Naruto said the Hokage isn't omniscient. He can't control everyone from telling the secret. Hinata said we gotta make sure that he doesn't tell anyone. Naruto said I'm gonna have to tell the Hokage. He has to know about this. Naruto was turning to go up the stairs, but Hinata grabbed his arm. She said you're not leaving without me. Shino appeared on Naruto's side and said I'm here with you too. Naruto said Shino, do you know? Shino said I've known for a few years now. But I don't see how it affects anything. That beast is separate from you. You're nothing like it. Naruto said thank you Shino. Now, let's go to the Hokage. Naruto, Hinata and Shino left the room, leaving the other teams alone. Sasuke pulled out a headset from his pocket and turned it on. He said master, the birds are migrating to the Grand Bird. The master on the other line said good job Sasuke. We'll ambush them on their way. Sasuke smirked. All according to plan. Teammate was traveling through the hallways of the amphitheater, going to the Hokage's throne. On the way, they heard everyone cheering about the match that was going on. The team just ignored it and continued on the path to the Hokage's seat. While they were going there, they ran into 3 Anbu who were standing in the way. Teammate was close to passing the Anbu when one of them pulled out their sword. He said I cannot allow you to go further. Naruto said and why not? The Anbu said, your death has been ordered. The Anbu's comment put Naruto on edge. The Anbu ran at him, trying to cut him. Naruto jumped backwards, missing the blade. Hinata quickly blasted the Anbu with a Kai blast, sending him backwards. Shino let loose his bugs and quickly charged forward to engage an Anbu. The Anbu swung his sword down, expecting to skewer Shino, but he didn't count on Shino replacing himself with a bug clone behind the Anbu. The Anbu's sword went through the bug clone and coated the sword and its wielder in Shino's bugs. Shino quickly jumped on the Anbu's back and put him in a sleeper hold. While Shino had the Anbu in a sleeper hold, another of the 3 tried to free him. Naruto quickly put a stop to that by running in front of the Anbu and engaging him in combat. The Anbu put its sword away and engaged Naruto in a hand-to-hand fight. The Anbu aimed a punch at Naruto's head, but Naruto ducked under it and dropkicked the Anbu in his left shin. The Anbu let loose a horrible scream and grabbed his shin in pain. Naruto got into a crouching position and tried to sweep the Anbu's right foot out from under him, but the Anbu jumped over it. When the Anbu landed, it landed on its injured shin, sending pain throughout his leg. Naruto jumped forward for a punch, but the Anbu jumped back before Naruto could land it. Naruto aimed a kick at the Anbu's chest, but the Anbu blocked it. Naruto sent a feint kick to the Anbu's head, causing him to block upward, leaving his chest open. Naruto quickly focused energy into his fingers and yelled out bullet shot. Naruto shot off a flurry of bullet shots that all connected. Naruto then jumped forward, expecting to end the fight with a single punch. The Anbu ducked under Naruto's punch and did something that Naruto never expected he would do. He unsheathed his sword and plunged it into Naruto's left shin. Usually the sword wouldn't do any damage against Naruto's skin. Naruto's skin was strong enough to break kunai without breaking. But the sword the Anbu had was special. It was designed by his master to cut Naruto's skin. It was very tough and could cut through most stone like a hot knife through butter. Also, the Anbu was proficient in wind chakra. He was told to focus wind chakra around the blade and stab Naruto in the leg with it. Naruto yelled and grabbed his leg in pain. The Anbu said payback's a bitch, ain't it? Hearing Naruto's yell, Hinata quickly hit the Anbu she was fighting in his heart and ran over to Naruto's side. The Anbu started doing hand seals and yelled out fire style. Grand fireball jutsu. Hinata narrowed her eyes in anger at the Anbu. She yelled out 8 trigrams. Air palm. She thrusted her hand towards the Anbu, sending an invisible force through the air. The air palm connected with the Anbu's grand fireball and blew right through it. The attack went forward and struck the man right in the face, doing minor damage to his skull and brain, knocking him out. Shino quickly rejoined with Hinata and said quick Hinata. You have to get your Mystic Palm Jutsu ready. When I pull out the sword, you have to heal it quick or he can bleed out. Hinata said but Shino, I don't think I'm good enough to heal something like this. Maybe the doctors here can. Shino said Hinata, most of the village hates Naruto because of what he holds in his stomach. He's told me that doctors have tried to poison him before, so I know he told you too. Do you seriously think that the doctors will heal Naruto if they aren't forced to by the Hokage? We have to do our best to stop the bleeding right now and get the Hokage to help us with healing the rest later. Hinata said okay. Mystic Palm Jutsu. Hinata's hands were surrounded in a green aura. She started moving her hand towards Naruto's wound. Shino quickly grabbed a sword from one of the fallen Anbu and put the hilt in Naruto's mouth. He said bite down on it. When Naruto did, Shino turned to Hinata and said on 3 you heal, okay. 1 2 3. Shino quickly grasped his sword and pulled it out. Naruto's screams were muffled by the sword hilt as Hinata started healing it. Hinata did all that she possibly could, which wasn't much, but luckily she stopped the bleeding. Hinata said I'm done. Naruto-kun, you have to stay off that foot. Naruto said, but how will I fight? Hinata said I think their plan was for you to not be able to. Naruto said what? Shino said Hinata is right. You're faster than Sasuke, so if they take out your leg, you're gonna be practically immobile, which makes Sasuke's job of defeating you easier for him. Naruto angrily said so Sasuke's behind this? I'll kick his ass. Shino said no, you won't Naruto. Sasuke didn't sabotage you in person, so he can't be charged with it. If you go back there and start a fight with Sasuke now, we'll be disqualified for sabotaging a team. Naruto said so what can we do? Shino said, we'll just have to fight them and hope for the best. Naruto said fine then. Let's get to the Hokage and tell him the news. 10 minutes later, they arrived at the Kage's booth. Sarutobi quickly cleared the room for their private conversation. Sarutobi said what happened to Naruto. Naruto said we were attacked by 3 people claiming to be Anbu. Sarutobi said where? Shino said a hallway 3 flights down and on the side of the amphitheater where the waiting rooms are. Sarutobi quickly snapped his fingers and 3 Anbu appeared. He told them to go check it out. The Anbu disappeared. Sarutobi said what happened during the attack. Shino said they went immediately for Naruto, giving me reason to believe he was their target. I believe that those people were working on the side of Sasuke. They knew that Naruto was faster than Sasuke, so they tried to injure one of his legs to make Sasuke's fight easier for him. Sarutobi said that does make sense. Shino said there's something else, Hokage-sama. In the waiting rooms, Sasuke said something to Naruto that caused us to believe that he knows about the Kyuubi no Kitsune imprisoned in Naruto's stomach. Sarutobi said how did you learn of it? Shino said it was easy to figure out with everyone calling Naruto a fox demon anyway. Sasuke said even a demon has to die sometime. Sarutobi said you're right. This is serious. But I can't have him killed for knowing it. If he tells anyone I can, but since was told, he can't be persecuted. I'll get a few Anbu to watch over him. At that moment, Sarutobi's Anbu poofed back in. They said Hokage-sama, there's nothing there. All we found were a few traces of blood, but no bodies. Sarutobi said, that is all. The Anbu then departed. Sarutobi said it seems that it was a Black Ops mission. They were extracted before they were found out. Shino said so we have no leads as to who they were hired by or working for. Sarutobi said it seems we don't. I'll keep looking into it. I'll find who did this, I promise you. But for now, I think you all should get back to the waiting room. Your turn is coming up soon. Hinata said, but Naruto is injured. We could lose. Sarutobi said I'm sorry Hinata, but if you don't go out there, you will lose. Hinata narrowed her eyes in anger and punched the wall next to her. She said I understand, Hokage-sama. Shino, Hinata and Naruto then left the Kage's booth to go to the waiting room. When they arrived, they went over to one of the seats and rested Naruto there. Hinata kept healing Naruto's leg, hoping that she could do more to ease the pain to get him into a fighting state. Shino said this will cause a slight change in our plan. Naruto can't take on Sasuke alone. I shall take Sakura and Kiba. Hinata, you back up Naruto. Hinata said are you sure you can do it, Shino? Shino gravely said I'll have to. While they were doing all of this, Sasuke narrowed his eyes in anger. Damn it. Those rude agents were supposed to kill Bug Boy and Naruto's bitch. Now we have to fight them all. But the girl is trying to heal Naruto's wound, so she'll be weakened. And the dope looks like he's injured badly. Fuck. I wanted to fight him while he was at full power. That way there could be no distinction who was stronger. Sasuke turned back to watch the match between Team 3, consisting of Yusuke Urameshi, Kazuma Kuwabara and Shizuru Kuwabara, fighting against Team 4, consisting of the brothers Edward and Alphonse Elric and Riza Hawkeye. After another 10 minutes, Team 3 were declared the winners after Yusuke cleverly used his spirit gun attack on Alphonse Elric, forcing his older brother Edward to jump in front of the blast. With Edward out of the way, the others were easy pickings. After their match, the Proctor Genma came back out and said now, will the last fighters come down? Team 7, consisting of Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno and Kiba Inyazuka, shall be fighting Team 8, consisting of Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga and Shino Aburam. Team 7 came out of the waiting area and to the arena to widespread cheers. Their entire team was basking in the glory of being the crowd favorite. Team 8 came out with Hinata and Shino carrying Naruto on their shoulders. They were immediately met with boos from the entire crowd. Naruto thought everyone booing me, giving me death glares, looking like they're one step away from killing me. SOP. Team 8 carried Naruto to the center of the stage, where Team 7 was waiting. Genma said Team 7, ready? Hiba yelled hell yeah. This'll be a cinch. Genma turned to teammate and said, "Teammate, ready?" Hinata narrowed her eyes and said, "Does it matter?" Genma ignored her question and yelled, "Hajime." Genma jumped back, allowing the two teams to attack each other. Shino quickly created a bug clone. The bug clone ran toward Sakura and pulled its fist back to attack her. She stood there, saying, "I know that this is nothing but an illusion, Shino. You can't defeat me that easily." Sakura waited until the clone was in range, then punched it in the head. The bug clone burst into Shino's Kikai bugs. They got all over Sakura, causing her to let loose an ear-rattling scream about bugs being on her, then fall unconscious 10 seconds later from fear. Seeing this, Shino's sweat dropped. He thought if it was anyone but Sakura, I would say that it was too easy. But Sakura's unconscious state did provide Kiba cover. Kiba charged Shino and hit Shino across the face. Shino went flying, but was able to recover and land. Shino looked at Kiba to see him charging again. This time Shino waited until the last minute, analyzing everything about Kiba's attack, then dodged. Kiba for his part didn't notice the two female Kikai bugs that landed on him and Akamaru. Shino thought that'll get them eventually. The females on Kiba and Akamaru will attract the male Kikai bugs that are out after they suck Sakura dry. All I have to do is wait and draw Kiba over there. Shino then started dodging Kiba's attacks. Shino ducked under a claw by Kiba, then punched Kiba in the chest, then the head, knocking him back a little bit. Shino saw Kiba run at him, aiming an attack at Shino's chest. Shino quickly ducked and spun, sweeping Kiba's feet out from under him and making him fall on his face. Shino stood back up, then said, "Is that the best you have, Kiba?" Kiba said, "This is just the tip of the iceberg." Kiba charged forward, just like he did before, except this time he was aiming to take Shino's legs out from under him. Shino bent his knees a little, then waited until Kiba reached him. He jumped over Kiba's strike, then put his foot on Kiba's head and lightly pushed down, causing Kiba to hit the ground again. Kiba got up from the attack to more of Shino's taunting. The brilliant jutsu creator Albert Einstein was quoted saying, "Stupidity is defined as doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I guess by his definition, you are an idiot." Kiba said, "You think you're so smart? I'll clean your clock right here." Shino said, "If you think you can, I'd suggest you do it right now." Kiba rushed forward, trying to hit Shino, but Shino was able to dodge every one of the attacks. Shino said, "Kiba, your moves are an open book to those who know how to look. You easily broadcast your moves to your opponent. You need to work on your taijutsu more." Kiba said, "I'm the best of our class at taijutsu. No one topped me." Shino said, "Now you're deluding yourself." Kiba said, "Say something about me again. I dare you." Shino said, "Your mother has a job and is a respected member of the community." Kiba narrowed his eyes at Shino and said, "No one talks about my mother that way." Kiba bent his knees, concentrated his chakra and yelled all for his jutsu. Kiba then got a coating of chakra over his body, his canine teeth were lengthened, and he got a more feral look to his body. He took off towards Shino, faster than before. Shino quickly jumped out of the way, causing Kiba to charge headfirst into a wall. Shino thought to himself, "From what I saw of their battle before, Sasuke now has just about as much chakra as Naruto. My Kikai bugs could drain him for an hour and he'd still be fine. Taking care of his teammates would be better." Shino unleashed the rest of his swarm to drain Kiba and Akamaru, who was next to Kiba trying to wake him up. Shino instructed the ones draining Sakura to start draining Kiba after they were done. Naruto said, "Hinata-chan, let me go." "But Naruto-kun, your leg isn't completely healed yet." Naruto said, "It'll have to do." Naruto rushed Sasuke, with Hinata right behind him. Sasuke saw Hinata charging with Naruto and thought so he brings his little bitch along to help. He's starting to become more and more like Kiba every day. Sasuke activated his Sharingan and rushed Naruto. Seeing that Naruto's shin was injured, Sasuke decided to focus the majority of his attacks there. With Hinata at his side, Naruto didn't give Sasuke an inch. Every time Sasuke went for Naruto's leg, Hinata went for a gentle strike fist. Many of Hinata's attacks were seen by Sasuke and dodged. "With these eyes, you can't get one past me, bitch." Naruto said, "Hinata, back up and ready the feint and blast." Hinata jumped back and positioned her right arm parallel to the ground. She used her left hand to grab her right wrist and started focusing energy into her right hand. Her hand started giving off a white light that temporarily blinded those that looked directly into it. Naruto charged forward, trying to keep as much pressure off of his left leg as possible. But Naruto still had to absorb a lot of pain. "If I don't hold Sasuke during the blast, he could see it with his Sharingan and dodge. I have to keep him from moving." Naruto flipped over Sasuke and held his arms in a full Nelson. Naruto yelled out, "Hinata, now." Hinata narrowed her eyes and fired off her attack, yelling out Heaven's Wrath. Hinata's attack rocketed from her hand toward Sasuke and Naruto. Sasuke started flailing around in Naruto's grasp, trying anything to get out of the grip. Naruto quickly kicked Sasuke forward and into the way of the blast. Sasuke quickly focused chakra throughout his entire body, enhancing his skin's durability many times over. The attack detonated, kicking up a huge smokescreen. Naruto started taking a few steps back, hoping to give himself some room if Sasuke wasn't done for. Before he knew what happened, Naruto was hit with a grand fireball jutsu. Naruto jumped out of the flames before any permanent damage could be done to him, but in the haste of jumping out of the flames, he forgot about his injury. He accidentally landed on his left leg, sending a bunch of pain shooting up his leg, which caused him to collapse to the floor. Naruto screamed out and thought, damn it. How can I be so stupid? While Naruto was holding his leg, Sasuke dashed out of the smokescreen and started throwing kunai at Naruto. Naruto quickly rolled out of the way and got to his feet. Sasuke kept close to him, not giving Naruto any time to come up with a plan. Hinata saw their fight from a distance and started gathering energy into her hand. She eventually saw an opening. She yelled out spirit arrow. Out of her hand came a glowing arrow. It sailed through the air and hit Sasuke in his back, causing him to drop to his knees. Naruto charged forward and tried to kick Sasuke, but Sasuke was easily able to roll out of the way. Sasuke got up to his feet but felt someone grab him from behind. Naruto said, gotta love shadow clones, right? Now it's time for you to lose. Naruto held his right hand with his arm parallel to the ground, his fingers spread, and his palm facing Sasuke. He started forcing energy into his right hand, making it take on a black glow. A black ball of energy started growing in Naruto's hand. The ball grew bigger and bigger each second. Naruto smirked and said, this attack should seem familiar to you, Sasuke. Spirit shot. Naruto's attack sailed toward Sasuke. Sasuke quickly focused chakra through his body, enhancing his skin's durability many times over again. The attack easily destroyed the shadow clone Naruto created, but it kicked up another smokescreen. Naruto jumped to the right and moved towards Hinata, thinking that two would fare better than one. When the smoke cleared, Sasuke was still standing there, but part of his shirt was blown off. Sasuke still looked unharmed. He said, is that the best you got? Hinata's eyes widened in shock. She said, BB, but how? That was a direct hit. You shouldn't be standing right now. Sasuke said, maybe those worthless techniques of yours aren't as strong as you think. I can't let another one of those attacks land again. I'm already down to half my chakra alone because I had to enhance my skin's durability twice to protect against those attacks. Naruto said, worthless. I didn't see you saying that when you were knocked out from them. Sasuke said, as I've said before, I've grown stronger than I was at that time. For example, this. Sasuke closed his eyes and looked down. Naruto said, is that it? Looking to the ground. Hinata said, no, he's concentrating. Sasuke opened his eyes and looked at Naruto. In Sasuke's eyes were complete rage, anger, and a desire to kill. Naruto muttered, oh shit. Sasuke's body started changing again. His hair started levitating. Sasuke bent his knees and put his arms to his waist. He said, you think that before was anything? Here's my true power. Suddenly, a huge yellow aura erupted from Sasuke's body, blowing grass, dirt, pebbles, and other small things like that into the wind. The spectators were lucky they were so high up, none of the floating debris got in their eyes. Naruto looked forward at Sasuke and thought Sasuke found out how to enter the transformation at will. No, he didn't. If he did, it wouldn't have taken that long. He must have recreated the rage from that moment before. Now, he's in this new transformation. The only thing I have on him is speed, and now that's capped because of my leg. This is not good. Sasuke's muscle mass doubled at least. His muscles got so big they tore through his shirt and stretched his pants. Sasuke's hair changed from the way it was before and settled into a new style. It also changed color to a shade of blue, a few shades darker than sky blue. Sasuke also grew in height. While all of this was going on, Sasuke's deranged laughter filled the stadium. I haven't accessed this form since I fought Uzumaki before. My chakra capacity has at least quadrupled. I have more than my original max. Uzumaki and his bitch are mine now. And Sasuke's laughter died out, so did most of the wind's force. Sasuke was standing there in the same form as he had in his fight with Naruto earlier. Looking at Sasuke's transformation, Naruto got a strange feeling again. The same one he got before when he first saw Sasuke's transformation. It was a feeling in him that told him to fight Sasuke or run away. Naruto said, I was wondering when you would bust that out. But the thought, a clenching of a fist, and a small glare, Naruto transformed into his form. Naruto rushed forward, noticeably faster than before. He went in for a punch, only to be smacked across the face by Sasuke's fist. Naruto easily recovered and ran back to fight Sasuke. He started throwing punches at Sasuke. A few of them connected, but for the most part, they all missed. Sasuke grabbed Naruto's hand when Naruto went in for a punch and lifted Naruto off the ground. He then punched Naruto in the chest, causing Naruto to be sent flying through the air. Naruto landed on his back 10 feet away from Sasuke. Sasuke said, is that really your best? You lose then, Uzumaki. Naruto stood up, carefully avoiding putting weight on his left leg. He said, nope. I'm just testing you. And you failed. Naruto quickly ran forward and ducked under Sasuke's fist. He went for a punch to Sasuke's chest, but Sasuke disappeared. Naruto looked everywhere for Sasuke, but Sasuke couldn't be found. He turned around and saw Sasuke about to punch him. Naruto was about to jump back, but he heard a voice yell 8 trigrams. Air palm. Sasuke was suddenly sent rocketing to his right and hit the wall of the stadium. Naruto saw Hinata come to his side. She said, you didn't think I would let you fight Sasuke all alone, did you? Naruto said, I kinda hoped you would. Hinata said, you won't get that lucky. Naruto was about to say something back, but they heard the rocks shifting. Looking back, Sasuke was getting up. He was brushing debris from the wall off of his body, not looking tired at all. Sasuke said, so I get the pleasure of ending the dope and his bitch, huh? I feel so honored. Sasuke disappeared again, putting Hinata and Naruto on high alert. Hinata muttered Byakugan and activated her Taijutsu. She stood there, then yelled jump. Naruto and Hinata jumped in the air just as Sasuke appeared behind them and punched the ground they were standing on. His punch caused a huge crater to form, shocking everyone watching the match. Hinata said, that is a lot of raw power. And he's fast. Naruto said, but without discipline, raw power is harmless. Hinata said, he put a beating on you the last time you two fought. Naruto heard everyone gasping at them. Looking to his left, he saw everyone pointing at him and Hinata. He said, what? What the hell do you want? He heard Sarutobi's voice behind him. Sarutobi said, Naruto, I don't think they're used to seeing two genin hovering in midair. Huh? Naruto got a confused look on his face until he looked down and saw that he was flying. He said, I forgot we figured out how to do this. Hinata groaned out loud and said, damn it. I feel like a dumbass now. Naruto said, what's up? Hinata said, why didn't we think of flying as fixing your leg problems earlier? Naruto got into a thinking pose, then said, true. It would take all the pressure off of my leg. Hinata said, but if I remembered earlier, we probably could have beaten Sasuke already. Naruto said, it doesn't matter. Right now, you remembered and that's what counts. As long as we're up here, Sasuke can't. Naruto's words were cut off by him being tackled out of the sky and crashed into the ground. Hinata's eyes widened. She muttered to herself, he ran up the wall, then kicked off of it at the exact angle to tackle Naruto. That takes some serious leg power. Sasuke slammed Naruto into the ground with a force that could rip through steel. The sound of the impact deafened the cheers of the crowd. Sasuke let loose a primal yell and started punching Naruto in the face. Hinata quickly flew down and started focusing energy into her hands like Naruto did before. She shot off the attack, yelling spirit shot. The black ball of energy sailed forward and detonated against Sasuke's back. Sasuke was blown forward, but he was easily able to recover. By the time he recovered, Naruto was back up, levitating a few inches in the air. Naruto and Hinata both charged Sasuke. Sasuke slipped into a defensive stance, getting ready to attack either one. Both of them threw smoke bombs at Sasuke, decreasing his eyesight. Through the smoke, Sasuke saw Hinata and Naruto charge him. Sasuke started attacking both of them, only for his fists to go through them and for him to hear a yell of spirit shot 10x. Sasuke was shot from both sides by the attacks, causing the smokescreen around him to increase. Naruto and Hinata both flew into the air above the smokescreen, waiting to see what happened. When the smoke cleared, Sasuke was standing there without a scratch on him yet again, but his aura was weaker. Naruto narrowed his eyes in rage. He took off toward Sasuke, yelling, why won't you die? Naruto charged Sasuke and opened with a fist. His fist went across Sasuke's face, but Sasuke didn't even tilt his head. Naruto's eyes widened at the pain he felt from his fist. That never happened before. I've never felt pain from punching anything. What is happening? Sasuke smirked and kicked Naruto in the chest with all his force, forcing Naruto to drop to his knees. Sasuke used one hand to grab the back of Naruto's head, then smashed his knee into Naruto's head, causing Naruto to rocket to the opposite wall. Sasuke smirked and disappeared, reappearing in Naruto's way. He kicked Naruto farther into the air. Sasuke jumped into the air after him. Hinata, seeing this, thought I have to help. Hinata started charging her energy, then shot off a spirit shot. Sasuke saw this, thought this bitch has interfered for the last time. Sasuke focused chakra through his arm, enhancing its strength. Sasuke swatted Hinata's spirit shot away, surprising her yet again. Sasuke brought his hands above his head, hoping to hit Naruto with a double-handed axe smash. Sasuke brought his hands down on Naruto's head, only for his attack to pass through air. Sasuke saw a shadow above his head and looked to see Naruto kick him in the face and down to the floor. Naruto placed his hands next to his right hip and focused energy through his hands. The energy bathed the entire amphitheater in green light. Naruto said once again, Sasuke. Welcome to Super Naruto's Konoha Cannon. Naruto turned, thrusting the attack forward with great force. The green beam sailed forward and hit Sasuke. When Naruto cut the attack, almost immediately, the dust and smoke kicked up by the attack was blown away by Sasuke. Sasuke yelled, I have had enough of you. No more holding back. Sasuke's yelling caused his aura to shoot up into the sky. His pupil and iris started retracting in size until they were only half as wide as they were before. Naruto felt the feeling grow in his body, causing him to have the urge to charge Sasuke in a mad primal fury. As that feeling grew, he felt his demonic energy start to rise. It had been rising since the start of their match, and now it was reaching its boiling point. Naruto quickly took a few deep breaths, trying to calm himself. Calm down, Uzumaki. Losing your cool right now would do nothing but hurt you. After calming himself, Naruto took off after Sasuke, with Hinata behind him. Naruto engaged Sasuke in a flurry of punches, moving as quick as a blur to most of the audience. Naruto tried to punch Sasuke in the face, but Sasuke grabbed his hand and threw him into the wall. Hinata, seeing a gap in Sasuke's defenses, quickly rushed forward and slammed him in the chest with a gentle fist strike. Sasuke's eyes narrowed and he looked Hinata right in the eye. He quickly punched her in the stomach, causing her to fall to her knees. He started doing hand seals and yelled out temporary paralysis jutsu. Sasuke's attack connected with Hinata completely, freezing her for 10 seconds. Sasuke started doing a lot of hand seals very quickly, yelling out chamber of pain jutsu. Hinata easily fell into Sasuke's illusion. Hinata let loose a yell and dropped to the floor, obviously in pain. Hearing her cry, Naruto quickly unearthed himself from the wall and ran to Hinata. He quickly twisted and kicked Sasuke in the face, knocking him away from Hinata. Naruto said, Hinata-chan, is there something wrong? Hinata kept whimpering, not able to form sentences through the pain. Naruto turned to Sasuke and yelled, what did you do to her? Sasuke smirked and said, I put her in a jinjutsu. It works on her nerves. Anything she feels will be multiplied thousands of times over. Everything from the feeling of the ground on her body to the breeze that's blowing right now. She's feeling everything thousands of times more than regular. Even better, the more chakra she uses to try and distort the jinjutsu, the stronger it becomes. The only way out of it is if I let her out. Now that bitch will be out of our match. Naruto narrowed his eyes at Sasuke, feeling his rage and anger take over his body. Naruto felt his demonic power rise in his body. This time, Naruto thought, fuck it. My body produces this shit, now I'll use it. Naruto looked Sasuke dead in the eyes and said, you hurt my Hina-chan. Now you'll pay. Naruto felt for the demonic energy in his body and grasped it. He brought it out, flooding his body with the power. The sudden flooding of demonic energy caused a lot of dust to kick up around Naruto's body. The power was so strong that some of the people in the stands were feeling the effects of it. The chakra put the ninja who fought in the Kyuubi attack on edge. The chakra's demonic essence brought back memories and nightmares they could barely repress. Sarutobi stood up and moved to the edge of the cage booth, wanting to pay attention to what happens next. Shino quickly realized that this match would get ugly. He grabbed Sakura and Kiba and ran. He ordered his bugs back into his body, fearing for their lives. After getting them, he went back to the waiting room. Naruto's aura turned a vibrant orange. His eyes turned a mixture of mostly purple with a little green. Naruto gained a red coating of chakra around his body. The chakra coating formed claws on his nails and feet and a tail. The crowd, seeing these transformations, were about to start yelling, but at a snap of Sarutobi's fingers, the Anbu appeared in the front of all the spectators, with their swords pulled out, as if they were daring anyone to say anything. Luckily, the people got the hint. Naruto narrowed his now slitted eyes at Sasuke in pure anger. He said, round 3 begins now. Naruto instantly disappeared. Sasuke looked around for Naruto, but couldn't find him. All of a sudden, he felt someone punch him. Sasuke got up from the punch to see Naruto standing there. Sasuke said, how did you get that fast? You weren't anywhere near this fast before. Naruto smirked. He said, simple. Look at my left leg. Where your friend stabbed me. Sasuke looked at Naruto's leg. At first, he didn't see anything, but Naruto said, you don't see? How about I give you a close-up? Naruto rushed forward on his feet, shocking the hell out of Sasuke. Naruto jumped up and kicked Sasuke right across the face, knocking him away. When Sasuke got up, he looked at Naruto's leg again to see some of the red aura going into his leg. Sasuke said, it's healing. But how? Naruto said, simple. I usually have an accelerated healing factor, but this form enhances it farther than it's ever been. Even if putting weight on my leg is damaging it, this chakra is healing it faster than I can damage it. See, my leg is almost 100% right now. Sasuke said, it doesn't matter, dope. I can still beat you. Naruto smirked and said, oh really? Naruto disappeared again. Naruto reappeared in front of Sasuke, giving him an uppercut. While Sasuke was flying through the air, Naruto stretched out his hand, causing the red aura on his hands to reach forward and grab Sasuke. Naruto then pulled him down and slammed him into the ground. Naruto dashed toward Sasuke and jumped high into the air. Naruto then stretched out his leg and flew down in a direct course for Sasuke. Seeing the attack, Sasuke rolled out of the way, making Naruto hit the ground, creating a crater almost as big as Sasuke's. Sasuke got on his feet and charged Naruto. Naruto waited there until Sasuke tried to punch him. Naruto blocked the attack with one arm. Naruto said, "You've left yourself open, Ichiha scum." Naruto focused some of his demonic chakra through Sasuke's body, causing Sasuke to become immobilized. Sasuke tried to move, but couldn't. He yelled, "What did you do to me?" Naruto smirked and said, "As long as my energy is in your body, you can't move. You can try as much as you like to move, but you will fail until I want you out of it." Naruto put his hand 9 inches from Sasuke's body. Naruto focused energy in his palm, creating an attack that gave off a blood-red color. The ball started growing, but Naruto forced it to contract to 3 inches wide. Naruto then started focusing his demonic energy into it, causing the ball to grow to be 6 inches wide. Naruto said, "This is a brand new attack I've made on the fly. I hope you like it, Sasuke." Kyuubi's rage. The attack sailed forward and hit Sasuke point blank. The attack caused a huge smokescreen to kick up, blinding the actions of the fighters to the audience. When the smoke cleared, the audience saw Naruto holding Hinata bridal style in his arms while she was waking up. Sasuke was knocked out cold on the ground with a huge scorch mark on his chest. When Hinata woke up, she said, "What happened?" Naruto said, "Sasuke put you in a genjutsu. It intensified anything you felt 1,000-fold. Hinata said, "Damn it. I should have been able to break that." Naruto put Hinata down and said, "Don't worry about it. Sasuke basically blabbed everything about that genjutsu to me. We'll be ready next time." Hinata said, "Oh well. Anyway, thanks for saving my ass again, Naruto-kun. I guess I owe you some ramen." Naruto smirked and said, "No you don't. I was so worried about you when I heard you scream. Just please, stay safe for me, Hinata-can. If something happened to you, I don't know what I'd do." Hinata said, "Worrisome idiot." Hinata leaned up and kissed Naruto on the lips. Naruto was surprised by the kiss, but returned it. They were in pure bliss. They didn't even hear the proctor announce their team's win. After they kissed, they both left the arena, not paying attention to anyone. Sarutobi laughed at their antics. "Kick us lovebirds. I never thought I'd see the day a 12-year-old could be both a lover and fighter. Oh well, time to get paid." Sarutobi quickly left the cage booth to collect his money for the bet. A couple hours later, Sasuke woke up in the hospital. Danzo was sitting by his side. Sasuke said, "What happened?" "Your team was supposed to kill the bitch and bug boy, not hurt the dope. He was mine." Danzo said, "And despite my assassin stabbing the boy in the leg, you couldn't defeat him." Sasuke said, "Because that bitch was helping him. If your damn assassin did his job, I'd be a genin, and the dope would be dirt." Danzo said, "Calm yourself, Sasuke. You will get your revenge on the Uzumaki boy. Today was just a minor setback. You will become a genin. One way or another you will." What if Naruto can transform into a dragon? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.